So good evening everyone and a very warm welcome to all of you. My name is Drishti and I will be your host for this lovely evening. So before we go ahead, can we have a huge round of applause for all of you, please, for joining us and gracing us with your presence here today. So once again, a very warm welcome. At the Healthcare Radius presents the 10th edition of the Smart Healthcare Summit powered by eClinicalWorks India, where we unite to shape the future of intelligent healthcare. This year's theme, Building Smart and Intelligent Hospitals, celebrates the fusion of cutting-edge technology, strategic vision, and human-centric care. Before we dive into today's insightful session, let's take a moment to extend a heartfelt gratitude to the partners whose support makes gatherings like this possible. So a big round of applause goes to our powered by partner, eClinicalWorks India. So can we give it for them, everyone? Our Wellbeing partner, Merino FABWOOD. Can we hear it for them as well? Our category partner, Getinge Medical India. Guys, I need the clappings to get like louder and louder as I go ahead. Our supporting partner, Marshal Engineering, and our industry partner, Indian Drug Manufacturers Association. Thank you so much to our partners for their invaluable support in making this summit a success. So going ahead, I would now like to invite Nehal Gautam, Editor, Healthcare Radius, to set the tone for this evening.
Thank you, Drishti. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this event. And firstly, I would like to mention that India recently carried out Operation Sindoor, a strong example of the bravery and teamwork our armed forces show to keep us safe. It's moments like these that make us pause and realize how fortunate we are to be able to gather like this and in safety and to talk about building a better future. And interestingly, the spirit of what they do isn't too far from healthcare. Both are about protecting lives, responding when it matters most, and working together under pressure. So this evening, as we dive into conversations about smarter, stronger healthcare systems, let's carry that same spirit of purpose and teamwork. So let's make this evening count. Thank you.
Going ahead, now I would like to invite on stage Vibhor Srivastav, Managing Director Events, ITP Media India, for an opening address.
Well, thank you, and thank you for watching this long movie, but it's obviously a lot of hard work has gone here. What you saw has been a journey of almost like more than 14 years. And we built one publication to another. And we realized how difficult it was at that point of time. And for many, many reasons, Healthcare Radius, we haven't been able to hold any grounds. We haven't been able to put forums like this together. And it's been possible. So I want to thank immensely each and every one present here, braving the traffic. And of course, how Nehal said, there is a lot of things that are happening. But you've been here, so give yourself a huge round of applause. Let's hear it for the industry. Two people definitely need a mention is obviously the editor Nehal and Farooq. I can't see. Absolutely, the pair of them worked tirelessly to put this incredible evening together. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a real hardcore work and service from the team who deeply and passionately believes in this industry. When we were talking back in our rooms together to ideate, to say that what is that we would create that industry would love. And we said, like any other beautiful buildings like this Sofitel, a gorgeous hotel, we must look at hotels. I was talking to Rajiv, Rajiv, absolutely right here, and Neeraj, my dear friend, and Akash. What has changed? What is the landscape that has changed here? And that made me bring my friend Shantanu Paredi as well. We said we must do a smart healthcare summit. We must make hospitals equally look charming and glamorous and gorgeous, and above all, make them smart, intelligent, and agile, and be the tech enabler. And that's why Akash, who's the tech enabler, and many in the room here, would actually get to spend time how important these buildings have to be agile, efficient, sustainable, and adaptable to the various needs. But I'm not the one who can give you any more discourse, because Dr. Ahmed, I'm not really qualified to do that. But I want to say that when Akash mentioned to me, in terms of the leap and the growth that India in the healthcare space needs is from the developed economies much far. We are still far. But इन्होंने एक बड़ी अच्छी बात बोली. Indians love to, race through. Was that right, Akash? That's what you said. There's something about us which is so very unique from the rest of the world. We catch up and we take leads ahead. With this note, I think and I believe that each one and everyone in this room and all the people watching in the industry would take a lot of learning and ideas and collaboration to make healthcare industry shine at the top. And I want to lastly conclude by thanking all our partners here without taking their names for supporting this cause and staying with us, and hope to continue the thread of this discussion from city to city. Thank you very much.
Now it's time to hear from the curator of this summit. Please welcome Joy Chakrabarti, Chief Operating Officer, Hinduja Hospital, for his address.
In all of this, I forgot, and I have to really pardon myself, Joy, and I fondly call him Joyda. Because when we launched Healthcare Radius, he was one of the men who believed that, we'll do a great work. And Joyda, thank you for being always there. And I feel immensely bad that how can I miss it? But, when I went and he was not really well, and little did I have knowledge, and I said, Nihal and Farooq, the best man that I know who can make this Revive Healthcare Summit is Joyda. And he very kindly accepted and curated this whole event. So please, for God, give him a huge round of applause. Dada, all yours.
Good evening, and very kind of you, Weaver, because very kindly you have made me to feel shy here in front of so many people, because I think I have done very less, and the entire team of Healthcare Radius, they have done extremely well. And I must tell this before I formally say for a couple of minutes. I was keeping a tab of how many registration, what is the kind of response, and I was delighted to hear 3 days back exactly that it has crossed 250 and you are stopping the registration. So that is the kind of reach they have made during this entire tenure. And of course, there are a few name suggestions I gave for the panel discussion and all, but I could see before I could give, they have reached the right people, and many of them are here in this room today. So first of all, it is my privilege to be here, thanks to Healthcare Radius. And as Mr. Vivor has told about my association, I remember my first edition of this, what I attended, it was in Gurgaon. 2013 or 14, and I was invited. I went and I saw the kind of arrangement was made, and I still remember the kind of warmth he had. And I think the smart hospital we are going to talk about today, but he is a very smart man, because I see that even after 10, 11 years, he is maintaining him so lean, trim, fit, and looking smart. His specs have gone. He used to have specs, now it has gone. So coming back to the topic and the event today, the smart healthcare, and around that the couple of round table what has been organized are very pertinent. And I will take it from Nehal that she mentioned about yesterday's airstrike by India. That was a smart move. But at the same time, I'm not sure how many of you have heard about even a smarter move has taken place today, which has been declared by the government of India, that around 15 cities were targeted, and missiles were about to come. But before it could reach here, all those have been neutralized. And one of the very heartening thing I could get in that press release, one of the Indian thing what was used was manufactured in India. It is a Indian manufactured weapon which was used to do this. So it's a matter of pride for all of us. And that is exactly what is the smart move, I must say. We have come across COVID probably before it was much in a big issue in India. We used to see the kind of horrible effect it created in abroad. We are worried that how will we manage, but our Indian entrepreneurs, manufacturers, they have shown the agility, they have shown the kind of responsibility and innovation capability through which we could sustain and we could reach this stage today. Though in many aspects we need to learn, we need to adapt, we need to improve ourselves, but I can tell without any hesitation that those days are not far away when people inside this room, even outside this room, when we are going to work together, we can take Indian healthcare in a much higher level. And I'm sure and confident this kind of programs will give a lot of inputs to all of us to think it through and create that kind of environment. Before I end, I want to thank formally Mr. Vivor for having confidence on me, and I didn't tell about my health because I thought if you drop me, I wanted to be part of it. Then I want to thank Nehal and also Farooq. I know them for a very long time and they're doing a wonderful job. And Healthcare Radius, he was talking about that during even the COVID and all the ITB publications were out, and I can tell you whenever the magazine comes out, we look for the edition because we know that we'll be getting something value addition in that copy of that particular month's edition. So thank you for continuing with that, keeping trust on the industry, and on behalf of the industry, I want to thank ITP Healthcare Radius for continuing this for the 10th edition and keeping it up every time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Once again, a huge round of applause for him, everyone. Requesting you to please stay on the stage. Now, to felicitate, I would request Rahul Sequeira, Managing Director, ITP Media India, and Vibhor Srivastav, Managing Director, Events, ITP Media India. Can we have a huge round of applause for both of them as they join us here for the felicitation? Huge round of applause, everyone. Requesting to please capture the moment. Now we have industry partner presentation. So eClinicalWorks India is one of the top healthcare technology solutions providers in the country. Mr. Akash Shah, with a rich background spanning over 2 decades in healthcare technology, has dedicated his career to driving innovation and transformation in India's healthcare landscape. Today, he would be talking about Sunoh.ai. Sunoh is India's first conversational listening AI application. So let's welcome Akash Shah, Director India, eClinicalWorks, for the evening for the presentation.
Good evening. It has been an exciting time with all the conversations that I've had so far, and I've met so many industry stalwarts. eClinicalWorks has been number one when it comes to changing the healthcare portfolio for any clinic, pharmacy, lab, or an hospital. We want to talk about Sunoh.ai, which is our first conversational AI product, and I'm going to be doing a live demo. Before I do that, we want to go through a quick presentation defining who we are, where we come from, and our current presence in the Indian market. We've been a private company based out of US since 1999. We have more than 180,000 doctors that use our product at this point of time. We've stayed private, made sure that our passion to innovate in healthcare stays on the top. We have global customer presence in 42 countries. In India, we have offices in Ahmedabad, Mumbai, and Bangalore with more than 5,000 employees. Most widely used EHR. 180,000 doctors actually use our product day in and day out. We control 36% of the US's healthcare market at this point of time. The India story started back in 2013, and that's when we started understanding how India works. I was a localite. I came back to Ahmedabad. I was in Boston, which is where the headquarters was, for 10 years. And that's when we started building the product, stitching the product by working with local hospitals. In HMIS, we have now 35 plus modules, and we handle 500 plus hospitals in India across 24 states at this point of time. We might be the only company who have achieved partner relationship with the National Health Authority. You can see our name under HMIS, LMIS, every product that ABDM has on their website. We handle 30,000 plus beds. Importantly, our solutions can be deployed from 5 beds to 2,000 plus beds hospital on a single database as a web-based version. Some of our big customers that we have deployed across India, we do a lot with the teaching institutes, which is why you see Gujarat Cancer Society, the Jivraj Mehta Hospital, Sagar Hospital, and even Parul Hospital. All of our deployments, we would say more than 90% of our deployments as of today are on Microsoft Azure. So we are a true web-based cloud hosting solution partner. All the solutions that we have, which can make a hospital or a clinic truly digital, are basically starting from Opera, which is outpatients records application, which is utilized by the doctors in the outpatient scenario. We have the hospital management information system, which has more than 38 plus modules. We have also launched the true inpatient suite of products recently, which can actually make a hospital paperless. And on the patient side, we have a company which is Hilo. We call it as Health and Online Wellness. And those are, we do patient portals, we do applications for patient under the Hilo umbrella. So we truly basically call ourselves as one-stop solution for any clinic or a hospital. Today, I take pride in announcing that we are launching Sunoh.ai. This is the first ambient listening conversational product which will be offered to India. We have started with pilots before 7 days to current customers that we have, and we really wanted to actually show it to you and not just go through a PPT. So I'm going to invite my colleague Miraj, who is going to act as a patient. We will do a live demo of an actual doctor-patient scenario, and after that we'll take some queries or questions from your side. Quickly, yes, we have recently bagged a very reputed award to implement a futuristic, it goes with the line of the particular, event that we are into, building the smart digital hospitals. IISc wants to be the first fast digital hospital. eClinicalWorks is going to deploy the solutions at IISc. Again, in compliance, we make sure that we are a 100% compliant product. We go through every certification that is required legally and by law. So we would like to actually start with a demo now, and it is going to be a multi-conversational demo, where a doctor can actually talk with the patient in English and Hindi, and we are also going to launch some regional languages, but we want to really show you the power of AI. We really think that the doctors need the time with the patient. They don't have to spend their time by logging into an EHR product or by documenting the patient's diagnosis, symptoms, or medications which are given. Okay, over here, I'm going to act as a doctor. Miraj, my colleague, is going to act as a patient. This is the actual doctor's cell phone. It can also be an app which can be deployed on a tablet or a laptop or a desktop in a browser version. We have just logged into this particular application. It's Sunoh.ai. Now, the doctor literally has to click on start recording when the patient sees, or when the patient is actually in the doctor's room. The doctor literally clicks on start recording. This is exactly when the app, Sunoh, connects to our AI servers on Microsoft Azure. Miraj, कैसे आना हुआ आज?
डॉक्टर 2 दिन से थोड़ा तबीयत ऑफ चल रहा है, पीठ में थोड़ा पेन है जो पीछे की तरफ जा रहा है, और यूरिन के समय थोड़ा बर्निंग सेंसेशन है, और आज थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो गया जहाँ पे मुझे यूरिन में ब्लड दिखा. सो अभी लगा कि डॉक्टर को मुझे दिखाना चाहिए.
नो प्रॉब्लम, मैं तुम्हें एग्जामिन करता हूँ, बट लेट मी आस्क यू सम क्वेश्चंस. Any other symptoms you have felt before, like आपको उल्टियाँ हुई है, आपको कोई बुखार था last night?
हाँ डॉक्टर, मुझे बुखार था कल रात को. मैंने डोलो 650 mg लिया था, उसके बाद बुखार नहीं आया मुझे.
अच्छा, let me also ask you, any other family members have similar symptoms that you have noticed?
नो डॉक्टर, फैमिली में किसी को ऐसा कुछ पहले हुआ नहीं है. बट हाँ, मेरी फैमिली में मेरी मदर को डायबिटीज़ है और फादर को हाइपरटेंशन की हिस्ट्री है.
Thank you for letting me know of the history. Well, I am, Miraj, looking at your current blood sugar, the random blood sugar. It is 241, so you should really take care of yourself. Lifestyle change karo, look into a proper balanced diet. Your vitals are normal, 120/80. I'm not worried about that. Allergies है क्या आपको अभी कोई?
मुझे डस्ट एलर्जी है, सो कभी मुझे स्नीजिंग होती है व्हेन आई एम एक्सपोज टू डस्ट.
अच्छा, वेल दिस इज़ कॉमन. अभी थोड़ा सा वायरल चल रहा है अपने सिटी में, तो ये हो सकता है. Why don't I just prescribe you some medications? You can start with a levoflexin, Aquazide, and आपने बोला आप डोलो तो अभी ले रहे हो, right? Okay. At the same time, why don't we also order some labs? I will order you a CBC, I will order a urine test, and let's also do an ultrasound KUB for your kidneys and uterus, so I can have a better look into your. It looks like kidney stone to me, Miraj. शायद kidney stone हो सकता है इसमें.
Okay, doctor.
पर आप ये टेस्ट कराइए, आप ये मेडिकेशन लीजिए, and why don't we meet each other in the next 2 days as a follow-up?
ठीक है डॉक्टर.
Okay, the doctor literally clicks on stop and summarize. This is a normal conversation that happens between a patient and a doctor, and the note is getting generated right now. When you see the blinking note next to the timestamp for Miraj, this is exactly when AI kicks in. The AI saw the conversation, it heard the conversation. As you can see, it was multilingual. मैं इंग्लिश में बात कर रहा हूँ, मैं हिंदी में भी बात कर रहा हूँ. At the same time, you can have multi-party as well. So the note just got created. I'm going to click on the note to give you an idea how the note got created right now. As you can see, the note just got created. I'm going to read it through for some of the people in the back. It says, Miraj Shah is a 39-year-old male who presents with back pain, burning urination, and blood in his urine. He denies nausea or fever. His family history includes diabetes and hypertension. His random blood sugar is 241, indicating poor diabetes control. He sneezes when exposed to dust, suggesting an allergy. I suspect a kidney stone and have ordered a CBC, urine test, and an ultrasound KUB. I prescribed a levoflexin and dolo for symptom relief. The patient should follow up in the next 2 days. So it takes an entire HPI, which is history of present illness. अगर आपने current medication discuss किए, then the soap note will also have that. Medical history discuss किए तो वो आ जाएगी यहाँ पे. Allergies, as we discussed, dust and sneezing. No hospitalization. Family history, Miraj said that my mother had diabetes and father hypertension. The note actually captured that. We talked about vitals. It has a blood pressure of 120/80. It took a note of that. Importantly, assessments with ICD-9 codes. Calculus of kidney. The doctor basically said that I suspect kidney stone. It picks up the assessment and attaches the ICD-9 code to it. Type 2 diabetes mellitus without complications. Essential hypertension, other allergy status, other than to drugs and biological substances. It also gives you a detail of a treatment plan. You can just go through it really quick. It will have a detailed treatment plan जो patient और provider और doctor के बीच में बात हो रही थी. It also has details of medications that the doctor has prescribed, which is the levoflexin and dolo. Labs, CBC and the urine test that the doctor just talked about. Any diagnostic imaging, I talked about having an ultrasound QB. It took that and put it in the structured format in the soap note. And the instructions to the patient are very clear. Start taking the medications, undergo an ultrasound, follow up in the next 2 days. This we really call this as the power of AI. We don't really think that the doctor should actually log into an EHR and actually give time in writing the entire SOAP note. Their job is to actually, give the touch and the feel to the patient that they are seeing. This can easily save more than 2 to 3 hours of a doctor's time. Importantly, we will give an edit functionality over here so that the doctor can edit anything that they want to. यहाँ से आप copy to clipboard कर पे आप paste कर सकते हो instructions. You can do an API integration with your HMIs. You don't have to change your software. This is the true conversational AI according to us. This product we launched in US before 15 months. We could deploy to 65,000 doctors of our current customers. We use LLMs which are created on our own. We use very, very complicated Microsoft AI stack and ChatGPT's licensed versions to do it. We deploy this right on Microsoft Azure, and we want to give this out as a pilot for 30 months to any doctor who is present in the room here. We really would like you to test it out, give us the feedback. We really think this is a powerful tool to save important time for the doctors. And now I think I'll open up for Q&A. Any questions on the presentation that we've done so far? Importantly, on Sunoh, the conversational AI product. Yes, sir. Currently, sir, because we are deploying this on Microsoft Azure, you don't have to worry about your client, you don't have to worry about any server deployment. We have an introductory price of 5,000 rupees per doctor per month. And if there are more than 10 doctors, we will come down on the pricing. So this is just an app. You can install it on your phone, on your tablet. You can carry it with you. You might be working as a visiting doctor at somewhere else. You still can keep recording your patient's data. No, this is the question, can this be used for reports dictation? No, this is only your conversation recording between a patient and a doctor. So this is two-way. Perfect, that's a very good question. So Sunoh was designed as a multi-model. I'll give you an example. I'll be the doctor. I'm a pediatrics doctor. I have a child who is visiting me for a symptom, and the child has a parent, like a father and a mother, who are actually asking questions in between, or they're talking about the child's regular schedule at the school or classes. It understands the conversation very smartly as who is the patient, who is the doctor. So to answer a question, ma'am, any conversations which are happening behind will not get recorded, and it understands this is not the clinical information. It should not be recorded, because your voice as a doctor will be trained before you start using the system.
So if there is an emergency room and a casualty,
yes,
sometimes the resident doctor, because I can assume that the fastest speed in the casualty will help, for such kind of a Sunoh thing.
Correct.
So if there is one patient they're examining, so this RMO or this emergency ER person with the patient is one, but sometimes on the next bed there's somebody speaking. Will this hold only this conversation?
100%, it is tested.
So depending on the distance and a separate conversation, that will not be logged into this conversation into the gadget.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
Which is why I'm saying you can actually use it for a month as a pilot, use it in your ER rooms, use it in your outpatient settings, and it will actually give you the accuracy of how it is processing the results.
Does it require any noise cancellation mic or anything, any hardware?
It does not, no. It does not require any noise cancellation. In fact, I'll give you an example. Outside we have a stall, we have a booth, and there are many people who will be talking around you. You can act as a doctor, you can act as a patient, and with all the noise around us, it will still give you a very, very accurate AI note.
And can we edit what is coming up?
Yes, you can edit it.
Because there are sometimes conversations we don't want to put on paper.
Oh, 100%. We are going to give you the edit functionality in this entire note. So once you are done looking at the patient's diagnosis, if you want to remove something, you can.
But if the patient has the same app, can he then record it as the actual conversation?
No, this is only for doctors.
I understand. But if supposing I'm a patient also, I can also use the same, and then my data, which I have recorded and saved with me, and the doctor's data, as the doctor's recorded and saved, will not match. So my medico-legal dilemma, I'm just asking, I mean, just my thought. What will happen is I will have information that the doctor has said. I'm saying it in the perspective of, say, abortion or some privacy conversation, wherein we've had sometimes said things which we don't want to document. So we speak, but we don't document.
Correct.
Now, if that happens and are two people who are recording that conversation, what happens then?
See, it understands
What I meant to say is when I'm having this conversation, can I see that no other device can pick the same conversation? Can I block any other device in the room?
That's a good feedback. I'll take it and see, if we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That start Dolo or start this such type of medicines and all these things.
Correct.
But if we say that take Dolo for twice a day after food, will it pick up?
100%.
But that will act as a prescription to that.
And then you can take that particular portion and send it to the pharmacy or send it on a WhatsApp to the patient.
Okay, but so that this app should be connected to the pharmacy also then, because
in a hospital setting we can connect the app. Yes, in a hospital setting or a clinic setting, if you want us to connect the app to your local pharmacy, we can do that.
Yes, because there should be some authenticity, because it is as it is an AI. So
Correct.
Everywhere the prescription will not be entertained.
100%, yes.
So on medical legal grounds, what we have to check out regarding the prescription.
So we are ISO 27001 certified as well, and we are keeping an eye on everything that we can do legally over here. Okay. You can be an orthopedic surgeon, you can be an ENT specialist, you can be a GP. You can start using Sunoh, and we are using very, very sophisticated Microsoft stack of AI. We see there's so many other products in the market, and when you compare it, which is why we say, please use it for 30 days and you will see the accuracy. And it can be any specialty, you can use it. Well, these are some newer products which are launched. It does not require an approval at this point of time. The doctors are using HMIS softwares to enter the data at this point of time, and they're doing it manually. This is only a tool to save doctors' time, and it can attach a note to your current HMIS. It is only helping the doctors so that they don't have to worry about, writing the entire progress note on their own. No, it is not suggesting you the medications. It is only talking about the medications the doctor is actually giving to the patient. Yes.
So I can see one more application. So we are an ambulance aggregator company. So while transporting the patient, we also does the live vital monitoring to the ER room. So how can I think we use this kind of software in ambulances? Because in ambulance also there is a conversation between EMT and doctor. So can we use this in that particular application?
I will have to think about it. Why don't we just meet outside at the stall? I'll have to understand the business requirement. If possible, yes, the technology is made.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, because I think we are already connecting with the ER doctor from the ambulances. And the patient and EMT in the ambulance, they are already talking to the doctor with video and audio.
Sure. We can have a deeper conversation outside, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
In light of data privacy and the DPDP Act of the Government of India, this conversation that you are referring to between a doctor and a patient, how long will it remain on the system, and does it have any implication in case of data privacy?
Well, we record the exact transcript, which is Q&A, question by the doctor, answer by the patient, and that transcript stays forever. The audio conversation stays for 7 days, and if certain clinics or doctors have a longer requirement, we can look into it. It only adds to the storage on the Microsoft data center side, so that's the only thing that we have to look into. Okay, well, thank you so much for the time. We are really delighted to launch this product. I think we have a last question. We think we have
maybe a few of them. So language-wise, you spoke about English and Hindi. Is it supporting other dialects as well?
We have started working on Marathi, Kannada, Tamil, and Gujarati at this point of time.
Okay, how about the accuracy of the output?
It is, I would say it is 99% accurate. The more the doctor uses, it gets trained on its own at the end of the day.
LLM training kind of
100%, yes.
Okay. Are you thinking of applying any CDSS on top of this and having a differential diagnosis?
We can do a clinical decision on the top of it, but the way we are thinking is, this is only a tool which is helping a doctor. In the end, this note should be given out or should be integrated with your HMIS or your clinical module, and that software should have the CDSS. Well, we are excited. Yes, sir. I think we are done. Thank you so much for the time, and thank you so much for everything. You can play the AV, please.
Is completing your clinical documentation cutting into your pajama time? Save up to 2 hours a day with Sunoh.ai and finish your notes at the office. Sunoh.ai listens to the natural conversation between you and your patients and quickly transcribes the visit into an organized draft progress note. Save time on notes and get more time at home with Sunoh.ai, your antidote for physician burnout.
Going ahead with our next industry partner presentation, we have Mr. Jagdish Biswas, an accomplished professional with over 17 years of experience in the industry, currently serving as an Assistant General Manager Marketing at Merino Laminates. He brings deep expertise in product strategy, operations, and market development. Please welcome Mr. Jagdish Biswas. A huge round of applause for him, everyone.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity today. Merino, I guess you all would have heard about Merino. So we are present in the industry since 1965. That's where we started the business. And since 1981, we are present in the industry in the laminate category. And since then, we have been leading the market as #1 player, not only in the country, whereas we are present across 80 plus countries across the globe. But all these years, since 81, we have been not only known for the quality of the product or the range of the product that we have, but we are also known as an innovating company. So Merino is not only quality, but also we have established ourselves as an innovator in this industry segment. So having said that, today I've got a product which I would really like you all to experience in our booth outside. But before going to the product, a question. Do we all agree to this? So our research says, thank you sir, our research says that more than 90% time we spend indoors. Indoor is not like when you stay at home. It is like when you are in your office, when you are in your home, when you are somewhere else, but of course it is indoors. So when I'm saying it is indoor, that means the quality of space that we are surrounded with, it's not just an optional. It is something that you should really look forward for. Same applies when it's in a hospital industry, when you look for the patients, so they are totally indoor. They're surrounded, they're spending 100% of their time inside. So why is this important? Because when we are inside, you're breathing air, right? We breathe. Every living being breathes, right? But hardly do we notice that the air that we breathe, is it affecting our health or not? That's a big question. We should all be asking this to ourselves. Are we breathing a healthy air? It doesn't mean the pollution. I'm not just talking about the pollution. I'm talking about the air that we have in an indoor space. The air that we breathe in-house is why it's contaminated, or maybe it is affected by the furnitures we are surrounded. So air that has got high carcinogenic fumes in it. And when we breathe in, we take these fumes inside. Now we all know what is carcinogenic fumes or how it causes. So it is cancerous. We all know this. It's not like that a carcinogenic product may cause cancer. No, it's not like that. It will 100% lead to cancer from prolonged exposure. So question here is the hidden risk. So this hidden risk, which is not only for hospitals, not only for the patients, it also applies to each one of us, to our family, to our kids, and to the people we love. So this hidden risk is all coming out from your furniture, the formaldehyde emission. So like I said, Merino is an innovative company. We have been innovating since decades. So here we have a kind of product that is very, very, very useful for each one of us, the product that we're going to talk about. So ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to the future of furniture. This is a product that has the capability to actually change the entire furniture industry. This is the product which is coming in India for the first time. You may find similar kind of product, but not qualified up to the level where we make this product. And sir, like you rightly said, Make in India is something that we should be proud of these days, and we are proud of a lot of technologies that is coming up. So this product is made in India, and I'm proud to say that the factory where this is made is India's biggest, India's largest, and India's most advanced chipboard manufacturing plant. This plant has the capacity to actually convert India from import-based to export-led industry in this segment. When I'm saying this, it has got a capacity of 900 CBM, and plus, if I drill in down to number of boats, we are capable enough to make around 20,000 boats a day, which is huge. No one in the country has this kind of capacity as of now. So the product is called FABWOOD, a health-friendly and a super strong board. So before I go ahead, I've got a beautiful video for you all that talks about the entire product. Can I have the video, please?
Have you ever wondered what is really in the ambience inside hospitals and clinics? Clean walls, sterile floors. But what about the furniture? That seemingly harmless cabinet or counter? Could it be releasing carcinogenic fumes into the air? Bringing together health, durability, design, and sustainability in one powerful board. Because in modern healthcare, you don't just build spaces, you build for life. Merino FABWOOD, built for life.
So having said that, this product is E1 and CARB P2 certified. E1 is European emission norms, which says your product releases very less formaldehyde, which is close to zero. So if you want to ship your product outside the country, if it's in a European country, so this is the norm which is followed. CARB P2 is Californian Air Resource Board. So if I need to ship my board to California or US or any near countries, I need the product to be CARB certified. So because we ship our products to multiple countries across the globe, so we have all the kind of certifications. Now with this certification, this is the proof which says, yes, your product is safe for health, whereas no other product available in the country is at this grade. If anyone is offering, he'll have to import it, not manufacture it. But our product, our factory makes by default E1 and CARB grade kind of product. We cannot go below this because this is what our minimum standards are. We can go above this, but we cannot go below this, which gives you a very, very, very safe interiors. Now with this, this is the property of the board, the kind of emission. But having said that, design is also very important at the same time, because your customer loves to have a beautiful interior. I've seen hospitals now surpassing the beauty standards which 5-star hotels will now maintain. So all the hospitals are looking these days, very beautiful interiors, a lot of beautiful colors, a lot of beautiful interiors. So with that, this product is also a highly decorative. It has a wide range of designs and wide range of finishes as well at the same time. And it comes ready to cut and paste. It saves your time. You need not to have a glue, you need not to have a carpenter who will work on the board for 10 long days sitting to make a table or a wardrobe. This is just cut and screw it and you are through. So 10 days work goes down to 2 days. You save money in terms of application, the manufacturing cost, and green, of course, is the new premium. These days we all talk about sustainability, we all talk about, right, eco-friendliness. So having said that, we plant 1 crore eucalyptus saplings every year. That's our commitment to the environment. And at the same time, the thermal energy that we generate in this plant is 100% through renewable resources. Another beautiful product in the same category is Merino Senses. The speciality of this product is you need not to pay for high cost veneers, which we all love to have in our interiors. Now the challenge with veneers is, first you buy a lot, you will not get the same pattern again. You want to go back, if you want to go back, or if you go back in a month or so and you want to get the same pattern back so that your interior matches, you're gone. You'll never get the same pattern again. Secondly, you have to paint it, you have to polish it, you have to maintain it. Thirdly, that patterns, more grains, more costly is the veneer. So the cost is high, maintenance is high, and you'll never get the same pattern again. But for that, we have got a beautiful solution in the same category of board, which is a moisture resistant board. Then you have a product which is having a real synchronized pattern like a natural veneer. So we have the product displayed in our stall. I would request you all to please, when you walk outside, please have a look. So you can touch and feel the natural wood pattern. It's a very premium looking product. So that's all from my side. Any questions, please? Any questions on the product? Great. Well, thank you so much then. Thank you so much.
I would now request Farooq Sheikh, Business Head, Healthcare Radius, to please come on the dais for a felicitation. Can we hear it from them, everyone? A huge round of applause. Thank you, gentlemen. You may take your seats. Going ahead, it's time for our first panel discussion titled Profit by Design, Designing the Future of Healthcare Space. So going ahead, I'd now like to welcome the session chair, Joy Chakraborty, Chief Operating Officer, Hinduja Hospital, along with our distinguished speakers. So now going ahead and inviting our speakers, we have Padma Shri Dr. Ramakant Deshpande, Chairman, Asian Cancer Institute, Kumbala Hill Hospital. Next, we have Dr. Ahmed Meklai, Founder and CEO, AAA Healthcare. Going ahead, we have Neeraj Lal, Regional Director, Maharashtra Region, Medicover Hospitals. Next, we have Shantanu Paridi, Architect, Urbanist, and a co-founding partner, Mobile Offices. Can we have a huge round of applause for him as well, everyone? Then we have Dr. Shilpa Takke, Group Chief Operating Officer, Jupiter Hospitals. Next, we have Saurabh Gupta, Regional Chief Operating Officer, KIMS Hospitals. Let's give a huge round of applause to all of them. Requesting Shantanu Paridi to please join us here on the stage.
Once again, good evening to all of you, and it is my pleasure to be here among the luminaries of the healthcare industry, and in a very beautiful, evening with all of you. And the topic is also interesting, that we are talking about profit by design. So I'm seeing that by design in this stage, we have all profit-making hospital. I come from a not-for-profit hospital. So today, profit is a taboo in Indian healthcare, and we should not talk about it. But still, I'm going to make an attempt with my distinguished panelists to understand how we can create profit, we can create smart hospital, we can make it sustainable one, and still it remains patient-centric. So having said that, and in my initial opening remarks, I have spoken about what is this smart hospital, what is the kind of move we are making over the last few years. And especially I can tell you the COVID has given us a lot of lessons, and we have transformed drastically after that. And I feel that we have the agility, we have the self-sufficiency to reach that kind of expectations. So with this, I'm going to ask my first panelist, Dr. Deshpande, who doesn't require any introduction, and we consider him as a guru, and we have learned a lot from him. So here also we want to learn from you, sir, that when you talk about smart hospital, when you talk about future healthcare space, what it is exactly smart hospital, because we are a little confused. For last several years we have seen smartphone, we have seen many things smart, but what is that smart hospital all about?
I think, thank you very much for helping me be a part of this August gathering here. And thank you, Joy, for this question. Smart hospital. See, ultimately, what does a smart person mean? A person who's a smart person, he absorbs all the questions which are asked. He notices whatever is in the surroundings. He analyzes all the data and comes back with an appropriate solution. And the same thing goes for a smart hospital. So all the data which is really required for making a patient comfortable, and the big data which goes into actually the good results of of the patients overall, and to do this with the best of the technology possible at the most financially economical kind of a way, so that we have a long-lasting kind of good result, is what we would define as a smart hospital. So you normally, you actually, how do you do this particular thing is, you create spaces which are very good, not necessarily very large, but the patient has to be really comfortable in that particular area, and so that the best results of the treatment can actually come out of that particular treatment. All the data that needs to be analyzed has to be as far as automated. So, useful of use of technology. Now, we just now saw an automatic technological kind of a program which automatically translates everything, so that the grunge work of the doctors is become much less, and the data goes into a perpetuity mode, so that it is accessible anytime. So if you increase the efficiency by reducing the particular cost and get the best results, that is what smartness is all about. As far as the Joy mentioned just now, profits, right? Now, profits are there everywhere. Profits are there even in private hospitals as well as in charitable hospital, but they mean different things. In charitable hospital, a profit means to get the best results comparable with the private hospitals at the least of the cost, in a sustainable, scalable, and a progressive kind of a way. Whereas in case of private hospitals, you need to be answerable to your shareholders also. So you still look at the economy of operations, and you make the whole atmosphere in such a way that your the patient footfalls will keep on increasing. Your clinical results will go to the best level possible at a minimum cost. So that is the meaning of profit in case of private hospitals. So yes, profit can be there in every kind of a clinical situation, and when you do it with data-based, technology-based kind of a successful way, then that is what a smart hospital would be about.
Thank you, Dr. Deshpande. In a very short time, you have explained, and you have covered the definition of smart hospital. But with that, I move on to Dr. Shilpa. My question is, when he talks about smart, efficient, and resource productivity, what are the components, or what are the, I should say, the ingredients to create a smart hospital? We have seen a couple of examples just before this panel, but if I ask you to little bit elaborate this, if you can do that.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Joy, and thank you, Healthcare Radius, for giving the opportunity. So, Dr. Deshpande spelled out so comprehensively that very little is left for me to talk about what are the ingredients. It's like cooking something very delicious recipe and you are asking me the ingredients. In my opinion, SMART again stands basically as an acronym. So SMART doesn't only mean it is technology and data driven. SMART is also sustainable. SMART is also delivering medical care with empathy and intelligence. SMART also stands for agility, resilience, and having a proper techno integration. So these are the 5 aspects which I think are very critical when we talk about smart healthcare or smart hospital. Now, today we all discuss, and we have seen various examples just before this session where the technology integration had actually played a very crucial role, not only in reduction of the burnout of healthcare workers, which had been a long discussed topic during especially Corona times. So this is not the only aspect of technology, it is also the accuracy, it is also the precision. At the same time, we should not forget that smart also means operational efficiencies. No hospital or healthcare space is built only with the good infrastructure or having a good technology. Today, all my colleagues who are sitting over here as my industry partners, all of us actually are nearly there when we talk about technology or machines. All of us have got good funding, good investments, and today our capex or our infrastructure actually can compete with any state-of-the-art, even international facility, and in terms of ambience and the lobbies, we can compete today with any 5-star hotels. So there is very thin line during that. But what makes us special and why technology is important, because it gives us additional leverage for ensuring operational efficiency. Basically, very reason and very purpose of having any healthcare facility today in existence is patient. if we do not concentrate on the patient experience as a whole, then all what we are discussing today is whatever we adopt a technology or infrastructure, it all becomes futile. So smart, in my opinion, the basic ingredient is also empathy, well blended with the technology, used for ensuring operational efficiency. The final outcome as targeted intervention is basically the enhanced patient experience. If we all combine it together, I think there we are when it comes to smart hospital. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shilpa, and you have touched upon a couple of points which are very close to my heart, like patient experience, efficiency. Now, if I go and if we try to compare with ourselves with the global scenario, the pioneer in developing patient experience is the Cleveland Clinic. If we see Cleveland Clinic and if we see some of the best centers in the Western world, we'll see they have not left anything unturned to ensure that patients are satisfied, and they call themselves the ultra-modern state-of-the-art institutes. But at the same time, what we have seen, if we look at Cleveland Clinic, they make, at least 2 years back, they have made an EBITDA of 1%. If you see, there is, fantastic technology, which is the state-of-the-art, they call in MRI in the operating room, they can use during neurosurgery, and which is there in Boston. That machine gets used only 5 times a week, and that cost installation comes around 50 crores Indian rupees. It is paid by the insurance company. So there are a lot of questions of efficiency and the kind of productivity is involved, but they can afford to do that, but we may not be. But with that background, I move on to my good friend, Dr. Neeraj Lal. I'm going to ask you, in terms of evolution and adaptation, if you compare Indian healthcare sector with the Western world, how do you see, and what kind of, can you say that we are at par, or at least we are marching towards that, and where we are today?
Thank you very much. As comparison to Western world, I think we are at par. I think we don't talk about this. I always feel very sad. We go to Google and type something, in all this presentation, US, Europe and all. I belong to one hospital which is a European chain, Medicover, which is available in 4 states in the country. So I always see the PNL of Germany, Romania and Poland and our country. So India is top. Number 2. After Poland, we are number 2, followed by Romania and Germany. So we have made a super app in our country. While I was sitting here for this presentation, I have approved 5 purchase orders. I've seen all my 6 units in Karnataka and Bangalore, what is their PNL now, and what is the target for the day, where they have achieved, whether they have started from orange, they have reached to green or not. So I think, and those apps is taken by Germany from us. So I think we are at par with them. There's no doubt about that, but I think we should talk about these things quite often. I think this is a forum where we should talk about. And at the same time, just few examples, like you were talking about operational excellence, patient experience, Cleveland Clinic, EBITDA is 1%, all those things. So I feel some of the things which we can do, I think COVID is a very important, it acts as an enzyme for the healthcare properties to shift to a technological setups. I'll give you one example. Say, for example, I was in Bangalore in Rainbow Children Hospitals. So there is a tough time to manage children's in the OPD. They're having a daily OPD of 800 patients, which is coming, and patients are children's. So, and each patient, you have mother, your father, and sometimes grannies. So it is very, very difficult to manage them. So what we have done in the term of hospital infrastructure, we have created a magic motion in the OPD outpatient areas. So what this magic motion does, there is a game which is installed on the roof, and there is a game which is happening on the floor. So while you jump on that game, it moves. So then a doctor have to wait for these young patients to come to the OPD, because when their number come as per queue manager, they are still playing and their mothers are supporting them. So it make them happy, and they always say to their parents, why can't we go to that particular hospital? This is a small thing which they have done. It is hardly a less than 10 lakh thing, and which make them happy. So I think if we keep on doing these kind of thing in the hospital with the current setup, it will make a difference. Like Sunday, generally, city like Bangalore, if you don't do OPD. So we started a OPD between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Every Sunday is a food festival. So we have created a cafe, which is like a Sofitel hotels. You come, you see, and the waiting time for the patient is 20 to 30 minutes. They give some report, they wait. So on that day, sometime Gujarati food festival, Kerala food festival, and we have seen on each food festival is Sunday, we are running close to 1 lakh rupees for that day. So these are the few things which we have attempted to do and creating the revenue of the hospitals. So I think hospital design in the term of smart technology, of course, which I think most of the hospitals are doing, can make a difference and entire patient experience get changed.
Thank you, Neeraj. You should have invited us when you have this food festival. And, I can tell you, he was very happy to share here that the profitability or EBITDA here in India for their chain is much higher than the Western world. And I can tell you, this is what works in India. And probably in terms of productivity, in terms of efficiency, we stand much ahead of some of the Western world hospitals because the kind of culture and all are there. Having said that, I can tell you made a risky statement. Unfortunately, I don't think any government officials are here. 2018, I remember there was a FICCI summit in Delhi where in the inaugural session, health minister and dignitaries were there, and in the opening remarks, the industry person told that we are making this percentage EBITDA and all, and next week, the government came out with the price control policy. So, means how to do that. So that kind of, risky environment. So, now I move on to Saurabh. He comes from a chain of hospitals who are coming up in multiple cities in India and coming in different geographical location. So when you're talking about the smart, basically it is nothing but, what is your future focus of hospital design. So can you share your thoughts on that, how you are doing that?
First of all, thank you, Healthcare Radius and Mr. Joy for having me here. I represent KIMS Hospitals, which is Telugu state's biggest healthcare network. We already have 20 hospitals, and we have 5 hospitals in Maharashtra. The 5th one just started 15 days back in Thane. And I invite all of you to actually come and see, because we have tried to be smart in our own way. So what we are trying to do, first of all, I would agree with my panelists, co-panelists, that Indian hospitals are very efficient. And I was actually going through one of the report in which 3 countries, so Turkey, Singapore and Indian hospitals are at par when it comes to operational efficiency. Not only EBITDA margins, but other things, including the clinical outcomes, are one of the best in these 3 countries. The West actually comes, way behind. It is at 4th or 5th position. So there are many other countries which are doing much better when it comes to clinical outcomes and transparency and the adoption of technology also. So we are better. We should be proud of that. When it comes to KIMS and our methodology, we actually think about 3 different things when it comes to smartness. I think the first thing is the hospital should not look like a hospital. So the future hospitals should give a feel of a place which is a center for wellness. It should not look like where only sick people come. And we actually started with a very strong patient experience program in which we stopped calling patient a patient, which might be controversial, but we actually call them guests. Guests who have come to our place, who are unwell, and they need some of our services. So that is the hospitality part. And that is one component which KIMS has. The other thing is we create a lot of healing spaces. And now, since we are expanding very fast, it is always not possible to build green hospitals, like, greenfield hospitals. We actually acquire a lot of these spaces. But we actually try to put, green spaces whenever we can. In fact, in Thane Hospital, there is a section in the lobby where we have live plants. It is very difficult to maintain, but I think we try to do that. I visited MGM last year, MGM Chennai, and some of you, if you would have visited, they have a green wall. So live wall, marvelous. The type of feeling when you sit in that atrium and have coffee is very different. We were fortunate to actually purchase this hospital from Hirandani's. So we have healing gardens in the hospital. It is actually a very good view for both staff and patients. We have resorted to some of the analytics when it comes to smart design, because before we finalize any of the layout, we do spaghetti diagrams. We see how much a patient and staff will walk. So because I was actually long time back part of GE Healthcare. We used to work in US and design hospitals. I picked it from there. So on an average, 2 to 3 hours a US nurse spends in walking, because the hospitals are so big. Indian hospitals are also getting big. So there was a study which says around 25 to 28% of Indian nurses and other care providers spend their time in walking, not in patient care. Leave apart other documentation and other stuff. So we actually do some analytics. We work with our architects to see how much walk will be there. So we try to reduce the walk, cluster departments such that, one example is orthopedics and rheumatology has to be hand in hand. And then the entire renal sciences has to be. These are basic things, again, being a hospital admission student, form follows the function, and that is the base which is true. Anything which you build has to be as per the specialty and as per the need of the patient, because that is the paramount thing. When we also talk about, smart hospital, it is about the technology. So, we try to integrate technology like Dragon software, we are going for Ogneto. So reduce the, non-value add or semi-value add work, because we just heard Sunoh. Similarly, we have at least software. And we have been trying to, integrate a lot of AI technologies starting from radiology. We are trying to, reduce work of our doctors. The other thing what I would say is that we have, Neeraj, I think I am taking a clue from this, but what we have done in our hospitals, we have provided multiple cafes. So when you talk about patient care, it is not only about patient, it is also about the family, extended family. So we try to have multiple cuisines in our hospitals, at least 4 or 5 of these cafes. And I actually got a clue of having these, days. But these are some of the things which, Kim stands for. And I think it is not always possible to, build greenfield hospitals. But whatever we can to make the hospital look less like a hospital, that is our endeavor, to improve the patient flow so that majority of the time caregivers spend on the care delivery. Patient doesn't move. Getting geriatric and orthopedics on the ground floor, because whatever lifting capacity or escalator you use, it will always be a challenge for geriatric patients and you cannot move. So, all these things we are looking for. Yeah, that's my.
Thank you very much. And I think, on a retrospective basis, if we see, we can do a lot of this technology integration even when you are operational. But one point what you told very nicely, that how many steps they are going to walk. So today, I know in US, in many hospitals, they are applying Toyota production system. Along with that, the lean management, and trying to see how do you get better productivity. And once your hospital is designed, I don't think you can go back and change that. So you have to be very focused from the beginning. On another note, considering patient as a guest, I know about a hospital, I heard a story about a hospital who appointed a hotelier in the front office, and they told, we are going to hope to see you soon. So that hospital has a tough time. So we have to be careful in keeping that kind of, guest concept also. With that, I move on to Dr. Ahmed. I was little confused initially what to ask him because he comes for several decades experience like us from hospital, but now he's in a different role. He has a hat of consulting, who is doing a lot of designing, not only in India, even in abroad. So question is, how do you create efficient design? You plan a hospital, because all of us, we know that whatever we plan to do, whatever we want to do, you are trying to add ingredients that comes at a cost. So the question to you is really a good design can make profit for the hospital, keeping the theme of the discussion in mind, and what can be done to make it profitable?
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Healthcare Radius, and thank you, everyone, for being here. You've stressed on a very important point, and everyone's been talking about EBITDA, efficiency, smart, tech. That's all great. Fine, it's all acceptable. But who is the one who's giving the service? Has anyone thought of the internal guest or the internal customer? Nobody thinks about that, unfortunately, in India. And you asked me this question offline, what's the difference between the West and us? The West think of the internal customer. The West thinks for the nurses. The West thinks for the ward boys. The West thinks for them and plans the hospital accordingly. Every single hospital, whether it's a private sector, especially the private sector, will always cringe on the staff changing room, will cringe on the nursing station, and pack everything into that, from a refrigerator to a storage to everything. But the nurse doesn't have a place to sit. Now, if we start, and I run a healthcare consulting firm, we help in medical planning. One of the principles that we use for newer hospitals or redesigning old ones is having care for the caregiver. We make sure that the nurse does not have to cross more than 20 to 24 steps from the nursing station to where it has to be, even if that means duplicating a nursing station. And we convince the owner that this is only going to give you more bottom line. Because if internal staff is happy, they treat your guests, stroke patients in a happier way. So I think while technology will keep on evolving, there will be a lot of new systems that come up, whether it's in radiology, patient experience. But the most important is the cultural change that we have to make sure that our internal customers are happy, design our places in a way that they are happier, ensure that the food given to them is not the downgrade. I mean, you add all these small things together, the outcome is going to be phenomenal. And while the mindset in India, "Arey, isko zyada space de diya," so what? In the overall scenario, you won't even land up giving more than 5,000 square feet. That 5,000 square feet extra is going to give you such a bigger brand name and more loyalty for your own people, for your guests, or your patients to come in. So I see there is something that we really need to adapt. We need to change our way of thinking. And that can only come with time. Things have evolved. Things have become better. And very honestly, the hospitals that we are doing, with this change that the EBITDA has actually gone up by 2 or 3%. So even these are existing hospitals that we've turned around just by altering spaces. So profit margins will always increase, but your people have to learn to be happy. Or we have to learn to make our people happy.
Thank you very much, and very important, and I must say that he used one sentence in between, that your caregivers, you have to keep them happy, and that is a very, very important thing, and that is changing drastically the entire delivery scenario, that it is creating impact on the design part of it. And we must remember that because they are there, then that is the reason we can make a better outcome, clinical, non-clinical outcome, that is possible. With this, I move on to my last panelist, Mr. Shantanu, and I kept a little loaded question for you. And the thing is, this question comes to you because with your background, that India, in fact, our Prime Minister has declared net zero by 2070. In last 2 years, we have heard about sustainability. We have come out with ESG kind of thing, and all of us, whether you understand or not, trying our best to work towards that. So to you, I'm going to ask you a question. What kind of inputs you will have, and how a futuristic healthcare design can contribute in terms of sustainability in healthcare, because that is one of the major need of today. And I'm sure in this room we know that in a hospital per bed, the kind of electricity consumption, your water consumption, all are involved. So how do you make it sustainable?
Yeah, I think on the build side, I think, firstly, when you look at sustainability, some out-of-the-box thinking, because we've done a lot of projects, and there are norms in place. When we work with the government, there is GRIA in place. We've got, awards for passive ventilation awards and all of that. That's on the hard side, because you can actually calculate all of this and you get a rating. Yeah, so I'll come to that. But on the softer side, if you look at sustainability on the larger, on the society side, I think you can look at reduce, recycle, and how you look at waste and things like that. But if you look at the first point of just reduction and say, how do we actually reduce the load on the healthcare system itself? I think it's a larger conversation where hospitals actually were community hospitals which had a connect to society. And that connect somewhere started getting lost. And what I'm coming to is actually most of the diseases that we are talking about right now are related to lifestyle. Because anything that can push a vaccine into you will solve polio to everything. You can eradicate everything. But whatever we are talking about is a lifestyle problem, and a lot of it is related to education. So when our hospital becomes a community space for ourselves to learn and educate, I'm not a doctor, so I would love to learn more about healthcare. And more my interaction with doctors, I've realized there is a lot to learn. That's what I've realized. And that connection going away has actually pushed people away from the hospital, and we become outsiders. And we actually come only when we are sick. And now we have this disconnect between the hospital where we are either, are we going to be charged too much money, which is, healthcare is expensive today, we know that. And how do you, if you're a regular community person, you will trust the hospital more, and you will be a patient also. When you're a patient, you don't want to be a patient. But when you're a patient, that is the place you go to. So I think, how do you reduce load on the healthcare system is by having a community-based hospital becomes the center which educates. I think that's how I would look at reduce in the paradigm of sustainability. I think on the harder side, what we do is, everybody knows water is a big issue. We have treatment plants today that are efficient, which can, re-look at water as a source that you can replenish and reuse, depending on where you are and how much water you generate. I think it can come back into the system. Even heat can come back into the system. All of these technologies are being used today, and we have those paradigms that we are looking at. And I think in terms of when you look at materiality, something that you can reuse and finally you want it to go, even if it goes to, after the whole life cycle, if it goes down to Mother Earth, will it degenerate in the right manner? So I think when we look at these, the most important paradigm for a designer, we look at it as how does it help us as a, where it is, does it improve patient experience, sustainability? So it comes back to biophilic designs itself. And I think the closest building I would say is when anybody's been to the National Stock Exchange, we've revamped the entire atrium actually. It's got step terraces and it's got a whole large green wall actually. It's a 5-story green wall, which has completely changed the space in a way, because that is actually what we talk recycle, because air is something that you can recycle air with natural elements. So whether it's on Mother Earth or, the kind of build form we have in cities, we don't have Mother Earth all the time. We do get terraces all across the building. So this is another way where you improve experience of the visitor. In our case, it will be patients also, where you bring down the load on the hospitals with the stay time of a patient. Your recovery is quicker. And that's our role actually. So you're actually answering two questions here. on how sustainability can then also improve patient experience and stay of a patient in a hospital. So I think these paradigms can be thought of.
Yeah, I think it is like a cycle. You do better, it gives you better yield, and you utilize that yield and you do better. So it is like a cycle, and thanks for emphasizing on that. So my next round of question to all panelists, I'll request you to be as brief as 60 to 90 seconds because we are running out of time. So I'll start with Professor Deshpande, and the question to you is, some of the panelists sitting here are coming from a brand new hospital, but here are hospitals which are running for the last several decades. If you really want to convert that into a future ready or so-called smart hospital, how do you manage without affecting the revenue, profitability, bottom line? How it is possible? Because you have done in your case some of the turnaround in this city, and we want to hear from you.
See, to actually change the anatomy as well as the functioning of the whole structure, you'll never do it in one step, because there are so many things which need to be attended to. Is a running hospital to stop it, unless and until you have many units across the city, in the same city, then you can actually transfer your patients to the other ones. But if you have only one unit, then you will never completely close that hospital. So you take element by element. One thing is exactly like what he said just now about the stock exchange doing only the atrium first and all that. I'm sure they'll, over a period of time, they'll change everything, all the rooms, every single thing they will have to. So one thing is stepwise you need to do. Second is there is gap analysis which is done. So once you do a gap analysis, as far as all these things are concerned, all right, what is the requirement in space? Now you can't really create space, but you can make a existing space better. Energy-wise, you want to convert a running hospital into a green hospital, not so easy, but many steps you can actually walk towards it. Patient experience is to be improved, all right? So, patient guiding lines to guide them properly. The simple things people have done. You go to a Singapore hospital, you'll actually find simple lines drawn using sticking lines on the floor, so that, and if you want to go to physiotherapies, you follow this line. You want to go to the cafeteria, you follow this line. They don't even have to ask anybody, simple guideline. Now, a hospital like Tata Hospital, there used to be such a big problem that all right, we are going there, but we don't know what is the problem with me. Where do I have to go? What exactly is it? So they just got so fed up. When I was there, the registrations used to be about 20,000 patients a year. Today they are at 75,000. Area has just doubled. So it's like 4 times the number of patients. Area has only doubled. So they got a keyword program. So there are patient guides who are there. The moment a new patient comes, he's being registered, a person is actually standing there. He asks him what exactly is the problem, and then he guides the person through. Now they've advertised a graduation program also in keyword programs, patient guideline kind of this thing. Simple thing. We have a strength of population. We utilize that particular thing, and then we use that. Then other automation, various patient sensors, making it automatic, making things directly go into the central computer, using large data analysis, using that particular thing into treatment decisions, etc. Step by step, we all do that. So it is possible to do it, but it has to be a very, very designed program with set targets, set feedbacks, and set reviews.
Thank you. Quickly, I'll move on to Dr. Shilpa, and I know your hospital, Jupiter, has done some work on sustainability, green and initiatives. So can you tell some of the things what you have done in your hospital in terms of making it a future-proof?
So design and the space has been also one of the USPs for Jupiter. So we had ensured that while creating, for example, even ICUs, those are very well-lit areas. Those are all, to prevent that ICU psychosis very typically, we have ensured that every patient will have the window They can actually see the outside. They can see the sky. That is how the spaces are designed. For every floor we have, in fact, Dr. Patankar is here. Our Pune facility is much more advanced when it comes to, utilization of space and green energy. So we have created spaces on every floor where there is a kind of atrium. There is a natural daylight coming in, which reduces also a burden on your electricity. We have also invested in solar and the windmills. So that is also one of the ways by which we have actually ensured the energy comes from the green sources, renewable energy is there. So that investment is also going on. Along with that, in Pune, we have actually had a collaboration with the Swedish body, and we have ensured that the Pune facility, which was comparatively new as compared to the Thana flagship unit, where it is completely certified as a green unit, green hospital. So these are the things we are doing. With every new facility coming in, actually we are adopting this, that the natural daylight is more. We are having enough spaces wherein the lighting and all other care is taken on. The energy comes from the renewable sources, and that reduces even the stress level for the healthcare workers, as well as patient healing is better. So these are the precautions we have primarily taken while designing the spaces.
Thank you. And with this, I move on to, again, Dr. Neeraj, and question to you is that, we have seen the fluctuating demands of the patient number and staff. So how do you create a workspace which is meeting these fluctuating demands as well as your staff requirements and availability?
So you're talking about staff. So say for example, I recently shifted to Mumbai. So I went to a BKC Apple store, right? So what they do, after a few hours, they have a show for you how to click a photograph, because I think most of the people are not making use of a phone to the maximum potential. So that is a very good thing. So in one of the hospitals in Ahmedabad, what I have done, we've created a space where a patient attendants, like every patient got their brother, sister, mother, father waiting for them. So they generally get bored. What to do throughout the day. There is a duty, you have to go with them. So what we have created a place where they can go. There's an open space. One of the doctor, a nutritionist or a bariatric surgeon, they're talking about basic health hygiene, how to take care of yourself. We serve them a tea, coffee and a cookie. So now we have seen, we started, 20 to 30 patient relatives are coming, and at the scene we have seen around 70 to 80 people between 2 and 3. They come, they sit with them, they chat with the people, and every day there is a different show. Different show means health, hygiene, nutrition and all. So I think it is very, very important. And I think these days we all are passing through a phase where a certain number of patients you have to take care of schemes, like CGHS schemes, PMJY and all. So what to do with them? You have to have them. So, and it's very, very difficult. So like whenever we fly, so there is a lounge, you go there. So in order to promote our cash patients, we created a cash lounge. So I'm waiting, I'm a cash patient. My parents or my uncle is there, so I can use that card. I can go in the cash lounge, I can free Wi-Fi, I can have tea and coffee, and it is connected with the patient room, smart room. So whenever there's a requirement, they can go and talk to them. So if we create these kind of spaces in the hospital, patient experience and in fact the patient attended experience improve, because those are the people who give good experience. And you can earn on revenue and you can have a good feedbacks. So I think if these kind of things can be done, they can, patients are also happy, their relatives are also happy, and you have less billing hurdles.
So quickly move on to Dr. Saurabh, and question very simple. Your Ahmed mentioned about, caregiver experience, and Neeraj has given enough number of experience in terms of what has been done in their hospital, earlier hospital. So to you, what elements you try to incorporate to see that the stress level of patients or the workers are less? Just in a brief, if you can touch upon.
So some of the elements which Neeraj has said, we have also incorporated. We also have lounges. And what we also do is we actually try to involve the caregiver's family. So we have regular family days. Now, what we have done is, before opening the hospital to the public, we opened it to the internal customers, because that is the most important thing. We wanted somebody, some kids to see where their mother and father, they are working. So we invited everyone. And believe me, that was a very appreciated step. We, welcome all our, this particular thing came from IT industry, but whenever somebody joins, they are, business cards, there is a joining kit, just like they give it Infosys and other. So we give it to doctors, so small things we do, but I think we're still not there as healthcare. We are still lagging behind. If you talk about other industries, how they, try to de-stress their employees. Because we also, in some of our hospitals, have gyms for, hospital staff and doctors where they can go. So those are some of the things which we have tried to do.
Thank you. And I have two more panelists. Quickly, I'll go to Mr. Shantanu. And one of the questions what, bothers us, or rather, it was a major challenge during the COVID time. Many hospitals turned out to be non-compliant to the requirement of handling those kind of patients on those days. So what are the learnings you had and what you are trying to incorporate in the upcoming hospital which are future ready?
Yeah, I think I'll just put it briefly. Firstly, we were very busy at that time because we work in healthcare, yeah? And the first thing we got is every hospital saying that we've seen the upsurge of so many people, not only people and patients. And how do we deal with it? Because all facilities are maxed out always, and then this was beyond maxed out. So some out-of-the-box more than that was jugaad thinking. So we looked at all the facility mix, bed mix, and said that where do we put more people? So started looking at podiums in a building, started looking at parkings in a building. Some people had more land, they could offer it to COVID centers, government certified centers. So people were very generous, people were willing to do. So what are the technologies you would use? Rapid build technologies, sometimes looking at tenting technology. So we were looking at technologies, we were looking at redundancies, we were looking at systems that you could, deal with that we had never thought of. So it was quite a time, and it was kind of a global emergency. So, but that thinking is actually now started improving the way we look at HVAC. We're looking at, somebody would look at only positive ventilation. They said, no, let's have negative too, so we can swing. And if there is an emergency, we have to be resilient. So I think the word resilience is now built into what we had a room data sheet, if anybody knows what that looks like. We know what we wanted in each space for technology and infrastructure. Now we have to build for resilience. So there is always a component. Every hospital looks at it, it's 15%, 20%, but that has come into the room data sheet, which is a very good sign as we go. And if we have any other emergencies like this one in healthcare, I think we should be prepared.
Thank you. And
adaptability. Thank you, Amjad, my old friend, always there for me, supporting us.
So Dr. McLeod, the last question of this panel discussion to you. Though you have told we are self-sufficient, we have shown the resilience, we have shown that India can show the way for the rest of the world. But if you can, from your experience, talk about few learnings from Western world, what can be still brought into Indian scenario?
Joy, that's a very good question, because if you actually go see, one of the companies that I run is also a medical value travel company, and India's first NABH certified company. You are seeing the Western world coming here. So one question is, your clinical outcomes are superb. What they are lacking is the hospitality part of it. What they are lacking is the comfort. What they are lacking is getting the local protocols in place. So I think India is at a stage where things are done right and all these components are put into place. We can do wonders. And I'm not kidding. It's what I've heard is for 2025-26, there's an estimated income of $38 billion only on medical tourists coming to India. So I think we definitely have the potential. It's just putting the heads together and moving ahead.
So we are ending with a very positive note that India has a lot of opportunities in coming days to get patients from the international market, getting good business, and at that time, if you have a different look and feel in your hospital, you design in such a way, then automatically profit will arise. So with this note, I want to thank all my panelists, and I'm sorry to the audience that we have gone at least 10 minutes beyond the scheduled time. So you can have interaction later because all the panelists are going to be here. So with this, I want to thank Healthcare Radius for giving me this opportunity, and thanks once again to all the panelists for joining here and sharing their thoughts. And a big round of applause for them.
Thank you so much to our session chair and our speakers. Can we have a huge round of applause for them, everyone? I would request the speakers to please be on the stage, and now I would request Mr. Akash Shah, Director India, eClinicalWorks, to please join me here for felicitation. So I would request Padma Shri Dr. Ramakant Deshpande to please come here for felicitation ahead. Our session chair has been felicitated, that's why we're going ahead with the speakers. Can we have a huge round of applause for him, everyone? Next, I would request Dr. Ahmed Maklai to please come ahead. Can we have a huge round of applause for them? Next, we have Neeraj Lal, requesting you to please come ahead. Once again, a huge round of applause, everyone. Next, I would request Shantanu Paridi to please come ahead. Let's hear it for him, everyone. Next, we have Dr. Shilpa Tatke, requesting you to please come ahead. Let's hear it for her, everyone. Next, we have Saurabh Gupta. Once again, thank you so much. Requesting you to please stay for a group picture. We are going to go ahead with our next presentation. So next, we have Shabnoor Hirani Bhalerao, who leads the digital health solution portfolio at Getinge Medical India. With over 15 years of industry experience, she has designed and launched a portable or integration system for the Indian market and is focused on delivering value-based digital healthcare solutions. Getinge Medical India is a renowned medtech company. With their passion for saving lives, Getinge presents a wide range of clinical products and a bouquet of digital health solutions that focuses on doing more with less effort, leaving the clinical staff to focus on saving lives. With this, let's go ahead and welcome Shabnoor Hirani Bhalerao, Product Manager, Digital Health Solution, Getinge Medical India, for this session. Can we give it up for her, everyone?
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all as renewed with the coffee break. May we have the AV, please?
Visualize this, a full board of surgeries back to back to back. You need to make a change, and with a touch of your finger, everything falls into place. Each surgery starts on time, with newly sterilized instruments allocated and delivered seamlessly. Patients arrive, and their medical history is at your fingertips. With a touch, you add imagery and surgical notes from the OR. Throughout the day, you have a clear picture of each patient's journey. Your healthcare facility is in harmony. It's a beautiful sight, isn't it? Getinge Digital Health Solutions, a touch of clarity.
So all along, we've been talking about smart hospitals doing it the smarter way. We've heard several definitions of being smart in terms of being in the clinical practice or the hospital industry. Let us have one more look at what exactly being smart means. By being smart, what we are going to do just now is to take it to the next level, using digitization and digital technology for an advantage for both the patients as well as for the internal stakeholders, that is the staff, and for all of us sitting here in this room today. So we've heard enough about what exactly is digitization and how the healthcare is connected. I have here a very popular quote from one of our cardiac surgeons in the fraternity who said that just replacing a typewriter with a computer is not digitization. What do we actually mean here? Just changing the infrastructure of a center or just bringing in more and more computers, losing the man touch is not what digitization is aimed at. What exactly are we looking at when we say digitization? So what we're saying is it encompasses the transformation of business, enterprise, and government using technology to make experiences better, communication effective, and work simpler. I think the last line is most important for all of us. All of us sitting here in this room are aiming for the same thing, that to make the entire experience simpler and enhance efficiencies at the hospital. A good digital transformation or a smart hospital, I would say, should aim at doing all of these, which is to remove unnecessary administration, to enhance resource utilization, and to increase operational efficiency. Oh, very fancy words, we all know this, we all have read this, are also trying to implement it in different ways. Multiple departments at the hospital. Where do we begin? Which hospital, which department do we take? What function do we take in order to improve efficiencies? At Getinge, we have a range of solutions that can help you do all of these for all the departments that we've mentioned here, right from operating rooms to critical care units. Everything can be digitized. For the sake of today's discussion, what we present to you is a very interesting solution that focuses on sterile supplies. Sterile supplies, often neglected topic at the hospital, but extremely important. All our surgical instruments, our sets, our reusable consumables, everything that goes into reprocessing falls under this interesting bracket of sterile consumables. What happens is, today we have more and more robots working in the ORs, we have more and more sophisticated equipment coming in, which means all our instruments and the entire inventory is revamped. Today we have instruments that are as expensive as an equipment, which needs to be taken care of from both operating expense point of view and also the capital expense of buying them again and again. What the solution focuses on is improving this entire ecosystem of mapping the sterile resources. What also happens is we are seeing more and more hospitals going in for accreditation. Not just NABH, but we are also aiming at JCI and other international accreditations. Not just reprocessing, but keeping their records, maintaining the quality parameters, the KPIs, and proving them becomes equally important. What happens with manual records is, at times, you do the process, but it's not documented as well. So that is why it becomes all the more important to have all these processes documented from quality point of view. What it leads to in a summary is to look at the entire ecosystem of tracking these consumables, replicating the whole process digitally. We are not aiming at changing what you do, but just converting it into a digital platform so that it becomes easier for your staff to handle and easier for you as administrators to monitor, map, and track, and to keep track of all your costs associated with these. What we've seen in the current scenario in India across the CSSDs is a bunch of challenges that are there. We've kept them into three interesting buckets. First is our curious case of missing instruments. I think all of us need one version of Sherlock Holmes in our hospitals to track these missing instruments. Every now and then something is, I would say, gayab. Something is found in the laundry basket. Something is taken away from the hospital, call it theft, pilferage, accident, whatever. But this keeps happening even in the biggest of the hospitals. And the cost towards replacing these instruments goes unmapped. At the end of the year, we are spending a lot of money replacing all these instruments again and again. Even the small value instruments, if you keep buying them again and again, it eventually leads up to a lot of cost. The second is the hide and seek of manual record keeping. Imagine a situation where you got to give a report on utilization of a particular set or utilization of your sterilizer. I think it would take about 3-4 days for all our managers to dig out the files, the records, and prepare a nice report for the management. And even then, a lot of it would be questioned because we don't have the data on the computer, or the system is not doing the reporting for us. It is still humans that are mapping all the reports after an effort of week-long data mapping. Third is, where is my money? I think all of us sitting here would define smart hospitals also as hospitals who are aiming at saving cost, who are looking at making more and more profit. Even for the non-profitable organizations, the more money you save, the more it goes back towards patient care. So every penny lost it needs to be saved. So here we are talking about where is my money. These are the three interesting challenges that we've seen across several hospitals. Any quick feedback on any of these challenges? Do we see them or are they not relevant? So indeed, they are all relevant to our current system. Let us look at a smarter way of trying to address all these challenges. These may not be foolproof, but it's a different perspective on how these could be handled digitally instead of doing them manually right now. So what I would do is I'll play some videos that show you how these are done digitally, and then maybe we discuss about any feedback on these videos. So the curious case of missing instruments. Let me play the video.
Minimizing cancellations and delays is essential if we want to complete surgeries as planned and ensure both patient safety and the optimized utilization of operating rooms.
We always know the exact location of each instrument, so we're spending less time searching for trays and completing administrative tasks.
So this is how a lot of hospitals across borders are trying to map this process digitally. By having most of their supplies tracked and traced, we can use different marking technologies to do this, right from laser etching to simple stickers, barcodes that can be scanned using basic scanners which are there at the hospital at multiple stations. So you know at all points in time where your inventory is lying. This can be done at the entry of the CSSD, at the time of dispatch, at the entry of the OR, and also at the time of usage on patient. The next challenge that we spoke about was on record keeping. We have some interesting interview from one of the hospitals that's been using TDoc, and they would share their experience here. Allow me to play the video.
Local hospitals have been using advanced technology to help their staff be more productive. Nadia Jansen Hassan tells us how some of these changes have helped workers young and old in their daily tasks.
A real-time system to track the processing of surgical instruments. That's how hospitals nowadays are ramping up efficiency. Singapore General Hospital is one of them. It has saved almost 2,000 manpower hours per month since it implemented the system in 2010. It works by scanning the barcodes of each set of instruments at regular intervals, for example after surgery or after they've been cleaned. A screen reflects exactly what stage the equipment is at, so staff are aware at all times. After rounds of cleaning, the surgical tools are put in a set like this, and after that they're sent for sterilization. Over 500 of these instrument sets are delivered to operating theatres on a daily basis. The system also tracks which set has been used by whom by scanning the patient's identification right before surgery.
So another interesting thing from this experience is, this was one of the hospitals where about 60% of their staff was in the old age category. So they had 60% people above 55 years of age. They were very concerned whether technology would really be helpful. In our Indian setup, we also have people not in that age group, but also they don't come from a very good educational background. Not all of them may know how to use computers. So if people of this age group can adapt so quickly, I'm sure our Indian workforce is also as agile to adapt it very fast. Lastly,
we also have the information we need to measure our performance.
With TDoc, we have full cost control of our stocks, purchasing, and sterile production. And we have the right insights and overviews to make informed decisions.
TDoc is flexible, so it fits our specific workflow and supports automation as well as integration with the hospital IT infrastructure.
With TDoc, we can continuously add functionality in hospitals to our multi-site setup, which enables us to share data and resources, improve our processes, and increase quality. And with comprehensive local support available day or night, our team is always prepared to provide the best possible care for patients.
So no need of digging into paper records to show a certain report. All these dashboards are real time, available with different departments, available with different administrative heads as per their capacity, and they can be looked at very easily, right from equipment utilization to utilization of every set, every instrument, how many times it has been recycled. Also, the single-use consumables that we often multiple use in India, those also can be mapped, and one can also put a limit on the usage of all these consumables, that they need to be reprocessed, say only 50 times or 10 times or 100 times. And all this is done digitally through the software itself. So even if you have to show records at the time of accreditation audits, these are very, very easily available. No digging into files and losing your mind over preparing reports. So this is the beautiful landscape that we intended to have at every hospital in India, where the patient experience, the resource utilization, and the staff satisfaction, everything gets addressed by one comprehensive solution, which is also scalable. So no need to put all your money at once. Take it step by step by your requirement. Just adapt smaller workflows and get going with it. What I would like to end with today is two things. One is we have a very popular quote from Bill Gates here, which is investing in tomorrow's technology today is more critical than ever. I think all of us here agree that Indian healthcare system is standing at a juncture today where the next step or the next leap is towards being more digital and towards being more smart. So this is one of the ways which we can adapt to be more smart, more efficient for both our patients, our caregivers, and for the smallest of our staff. We would like to take this opportunity to invite each one of you at our Experience Center here in Andheri, where we showcase this entire range, not just TDoc, but also other products from the digital health solution gamut. Also, we have a miniature version of our exhibit at the stall outside. Please do pay a visit. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Now I would request Riva Singh, Group Editor, ITP Media India, to please come here on stage for felicitation. A huge round of applause for them, everyone. Thank you. You may take your seats. Going ahead, we are proud to welcome Marshal Engineering Corporation presenting their innovative product, Marshal 11, an antimicrobial silicone rubber mat designed to prevent harmful bacteria like E. coli, MRSA, and Salmonella in clinical settings. Representing them today is Dr. Jayesh Dhake, HOD at Sri Guruji Rugnalaya, Nasik. Can we have a huge round of applause, everyone?
Oh, it's me. It's without beer. So it's me only. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am representing Marshal Engineering, the product called anti-fatigue mat. Quickly, I'll go through my introduction. Myself, Dr. Jayesh Chandrakant Dhake. I'm an orthopedic and joint replacement surgeon working as a head of department in Sri Guruji Rugnalaya, Nasik. It's an NGO, which is another branch of Hedgewar Hospital from Sambhajinagar. Now today, we are working as a 100-bedded hospital approximately, and within a year or two, we'll be going to 300-bedded hospital under the guidance of HOSMAC, who are the already giants of making hospitals. So to be very quick, let's be a little bit of interactive, and I'll be talking about the mat, but before that, why this mat is being used. I'd like to ask, everyone has a single heart or we have another heart? Do we have a second heart? Everyone knows, all maybe a few people are from medical backgrounds. Do we have a second heart? No? Yes? No? Yes, somebody has answered calf. Of course, it's called the second heart of the body. Okay? So we have two calves, two legs, so two calves, two hearts. Okay? So one, of course, everyone knows the significance of the heart. But the second heart is the calf. The calf is the most important reservoir of the blood also. Okay? Some of the veins, they may store the blood. When there is a emergency, we go for a peripheral thing, because calf is the peripheral part of the body and the hands are the peripheral parts of the body. So why calf is called the second heart? Because it consists of a lot of blood vessels and veins, which pumps the deoxygenated blood to the heart and get oxygenated, and again it is vice versa, going circulation through our body. So calf consists of two muscles, gastrocnemius and soleus. So they both form the tendon called Achilles. It is one of the strongest tendon of the body. Friends, you must have heard the story of Achilles. Anyone knows Achilles? The picture movie we saw, the movie Troy. The name was Achilles. And he was immortal. Why he was immortal? Because nobody was, he will be, never ever be killed. But only because of Achilles tendon, he was not able to move. When he got shot by the arrow, there was a break in his Achilles tendon and he was not able to run or walk. Same way, our military people are been trained. They have been brutally trained to cut this such type of Achilles tendon, which is the most important and strongest part of the tendon, from where the criminals or the terrorists cannot run. And same applies to us. So it is one of the most important tendon and strongest tendon of the body, and it is the extension of the calf. So it's the second heart of the body. So in this mat, specifically to tell you why this has been used in such type of long-standing cases, because the calf, if it gets fatigued, the pumping will be less. And if one of the conferences I have gone through, somebody spoke regarding the footwear. If you see the footwear, everyone are wearing the leather shoes and all these things, but when you remove the shoes, you feel, so nice, so better feeling. Somebody must be pressing your hands, okay, palms. Somebody maybe, if you tell someone to press your foot, you feel better. Why? Because they are the pressure points and the periphery of the body, which has abundant nerve supply, abundant blood supply. So that's why there is a lot of fatigueness if that doesn't go in circulation in a regular manner. So friends, I'd like to tell you regarding the mat. AV, can we have the PPT? Okay. So I am representing Marshal Engineering. So to quickly go, Marshal 11 is the mat name. And it is Stand Comfort with Marshal 11 anti-fatigue medical mats. It is an antimicrobial silicone rubber proven to prevent the growth of bacterial strains such as Salmonella, E. coli and MRSA, which is most important and resistant organism which may be found in our ORs or operation theaters. Silver iron technology. You must have heard the ointments, some of the ointments have silver for the wound thing. So silver iron technology is at the core of Marshal 11, which inhibits the growth of bacterial cells by disabling their proton pumps and interfering with sulfonyl proteins. This process disturbs cell wall synthesis and therefore bacterial functioning. It is commonly used in medical, pharma and food manufacturing. So we have discussed regarding the calf, known as second heart of the body. Muscles are gastrocnemius and soleus. It works in coordination with heart to circulate the blood in the body. They pump the deoxygenated blood to the heart against gravity. That's balanced circulation. That's against gravity. Please make sure. And it acts as a reservoir or storage of blood. Whenever there is a heart pumping activity is less, these calf muscles are the reservoir. If you give ankle pumps to the patient, some of the blood circulation may get revived. So that is the calf veins which store the blood, and that body does not need to circulate at that particular moment. So that is acts as a storage. And the reason why it's a second heart of the body, because there some of the blood is stored over that in the calf veins. They also support the walls present in the veins which keep the blood flowing in the right direction. So everyone must have heard regarding the varicose veins. So varicose veins have a ball valve mechanism. To give an example, it's a water tank. If the water tank gets full, there is a ball valve mechanism. The water should not overflow and the ball gets stuck in between. So same, we have some walls in the calf. If that ball valve mechanism is disturbed, so you will have varicosities. So in what conditions we can use this medical mat? So there will be muscle strains due to overuse or misuse of muscles, which will give rise to pain, stiffness, weakness, limited range of movements. Muscle cramps, holding a position for too long. So muscle cramps may be due to dehydration also, overwork, overuse, low electrolytes. Simple medicine is water, which we don't have in a regular basis. So that's a simple which maintains the calf dehydration. Then other is muscle tiredness, deep vein thrombosis. These are the preventive measures where we can use this medical mat. Achilles heels, what we said. Plantar fasciitis, another. Varicose veins, neuropathies, peripheral vascular disorders, and compartment syndrome. So remedy is Marshal 11, an ideal solution to all above conditions, a soft solution for hard times. Excellent relaxant for surgeon in long-standing surgeries. As I being a surgeon, I am representing this mat because I have been using this mat since 2 months. So it's like trial and error I myself have done, and I have agreed to represent this mat because we have been, I being an orthopedic surgeon, sometimes some of my surgeries will extend till 3 to 4 hours also. In fact, some of our neurosurgeons have also started using the mat in our own hospital. So can be used in workers in pharmaceutical packing lines, medical labs, neuropathic assistants, patient with hip and knee joint replacements where they need calf exercises or calf pumps. So I'll not go in detail because I am not the master of this mechanical properties. I'll just go through it. So these are the mechanical properties: hardness, tensile, elongation, tear strength, and compression, which has undergone this mat. Characteristics which brittle point, limited oxygen index, thermal conductivity, and radiation resistance. The benefits what this mat has, it can resist the temperature up to, or it can maintain the temperature up to -60 to 230 degrees centigrade. Environmental resistance, ozone, UV, and weather resistance. So it is resistant to this environmental part. And flame retardant FR25/JR25. And long life service versus other elastomers. So these are the aggregations which have got this mat for this mat, and as well as the Marshal Engineering FDA approved JISZ 20601/2000 test for antimicrobial activity and flame test for aerospace application. So these are the other certificates which have been certificate of registration and conformity. Thank you. I would like to call upon the CEO of Marshal Engineering Corporation. He has a small story to tell you. Mr. Surendra Singh Kalsi, please, I would like to welcome you. He is the CEO of Marshal Engineering. By profession, he is a mechanical engineer, and to tell you, and to very proudly tell you, he is an ex-army person serving the nation. So please welcome Mr. Surendra Singh Kalsi, and he'll have a small story to tell you, and in fact, any of the technical questions, he's there to answer you. Thank you.
Hello. Jai Hind, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. Marshal, our company, we make a niche equipment for oil, gas, and power sector in the engineering field. But in 2017, I was detected with tongue cancer. And the operation or the surgery took more than 11 hours. This is what my daughter told me. Since we make anti-fatigue mats for the industrial sector, I thought that why not the surgeons? They are second line of soldiers for humanity. So I thought of making anti-fatigue mat for the surgeons, but a lot of things came in the way that since it is used in OT, it has to be antibacterial. So silicone rubber is antibacterial, but then to enhance it, we used silver ion technology, that is silver metal is introduced into the top layers. And then we had gel to make it anti-fatigue in nature, but later on we converted it into a semi-solid. So this is how this came into existence. And this is the first time that Marshal has stepped into healthcare. And we are just trying to promote this and sort of making the surgeons aware that such a product exists in India. It is a totally made in India product, and for the first time in India. So I would request everyone to just go through this and use it for as much as possible for all the surgeons and the rest of the people who can benefit from it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we have a huge round of applause for them, everyone? Requesting you to please come here. Going ahead, I would request Rahul Sequeira to please come here and join us for the felicitations. Requesting you to please take the center of the stage. Can we have a huge round of applause, everyone? Okay, time for our final discussion of this evening. Building future-ready smart hospitals, integrating technology with strategic vision. Going ahead, I'd like to welcome the session chair, that's Dr. Rajiv Chibber, Vice President, Sahajanand Medical Technologies, along with our distinguished speakers. We have Akash Shah, Director India, eClinicalWorks India. We have Nilesh Shinde, Group Chief Technical Officer and Head of Projects, Jupiter Hospital. Veelu Williams, Group Chief Information Officer, Grant Medical Foundation, Ruby Hall Clinic. Next, we have Girish Koper, General Manager IT, Wockhardt Hospital. A huge round of applause for our panelists, everyone.
Very good evening, everyone. Thanks for the panel being here, and thank you, everyone, for staying back. We know it's a great evening today, and what we learned from the first panel and after that the subsequent technologies that were showcased and the kind of deliberations and discussions that we had were really invigorating, and which actually led me to think that the session that we have is called Building Future-Ready Smart Hospitals, Integrating Technology with Strategic Vision. And I thought, while everyone in panel 1 did discuss what, future-ready was and what is the need for having a smart healthcare system within the country, but I thought let's try to break that smart word, and with that then I will hand over the mics to the other panelists. So, when we looked at everything that was presented today and then the kind of vision that maybe the country has towards smart cities and smart hospitals, there is one thing that one needs to understand: what are we talking about when we talk about smart, basically. So with that, I would say would be something very specific, because technologies need to be specifically targeted towards something that can improve lives. Then with an M, it needs to be measurable. Whatever they are doing or whatever you are doing as a physician, as a hospital, or as a healthcare provider, it needs to be measurable. Then you're looking at something which is attainable. Your measurement needs to be attained. So that's something which needs to be really, really, nuanced when you look at the smartness of it. And then, relevance. Obviously, with changing times, relevance needs to be more and more curated and precise. And then the T, which we finally looked at, was technology savvy. Earlier, we used to say time bound, but now we need to look at technology savvy stuff. And with this, I thought, let's not make it smart, let's make it more smarter, because with the panel of such an esteemed panel that we have who've already delved into so much of technologies, we need to have efficiency being the yardstick of it, and then the R that comes last is the research orientation, because anything which we do in isolation is not going to really take it to become the next smarter things. So with this, let's start with the panel, and let's do ladies first. In this case, I'll just go to Veelu Williams. you come from a hospital setup typically that would look at dovetailing today's smart culture into how technology can actually become future ready for not only the inmates in your hospital, but also the patient centricity that needs to be looked at. So when you talk about integrating technology, when you look at how the tech smart connotation can be dovetailed, 2 things or 3 things that you really want could be your marquee, antiques that you've actually had in the hospital.
Good evening, and thank you to Healthcare Radius for inviting me today. The smart word, the smart hospitals, has always been very close to my heart. Coming from a technology background, we are always in a healthcare environment, in a hospital environment. I've always kept a focus on patient centricity. So when we are talking about patient centricity, what kind of experiences we can provide to the patient has to be the core of everything we do in terms of technology. Therefore, when we are talking about implementing anything, we are talking about adopting any kind of technology, we first see what is going to be the impact of it on the patient, not only on the patient, but also on the caregivers, because still it does not support and help the caregivers. It's not going to reflect directly on the patient experience. So generally, when we talk about smart hospitals using technology, at times blindly go and try to adopt a lot of software, a lot of applications. Now there is a lot of AI in the market, so we think of AI all the time. But when we are actually, as a CIO, when I look at what we can bring to the table in the form of technology, the first thing is, what is the use case that we are going to drive in terms of patient experience? If it does not impact the patient, it's better not to have the technology. So the smartness to the hospital comes when, yes, we have the data available to us, we have the processes in place, we have the excellence in service, and if the software or the applications or any kind of technology that we adopt does not impact any of these, then it doesn't make sense to go for that technology or implement it. So that is how I have been taking things at Ruby Hall. We are a legacy hospital. So we are like a 60-year-old hospital today, more than 60 years. And of course, we have got newer group hospitals also in Pune. So when we look at enhancing things, we want to first keep a focus of how are we doing with our legacy systems and whether it is really helpful in today's culture, in today's environment. And we start from that stage. We started from that stage, and we went on to replace the legacy systems if it had an impact on the patient. Similarly, not just because AI is in the market or everybody talks about AI, does that really bring in value to the patient when we are bringing applications enabled by AI? These things we looked at. We started from the ground up again because legacy systems work very differently or legacy hospitals work very differently from new hospitals. So when we are looking at how to proceed from there, we have to understand the difference between the two. There are a lot of my colleagues over here on this panel also, maybe working with legacy hospitals and in the audience. So when we are looking at changing the technology front in any hospital, we try to first bring out what are those use cases that need to be addressed first and how the newer technologies will help that.
Yeah, I think it's very important today that when we are moving to not only create smarter infrastructure or integrating advanced technologies, the patient centricity that you just mentioned, that they should be able to also have that kind of smartness to understand all of this is very important, which takes me actually to Akash and Sunoh. Everyone heard all of this, and you created like not only a patient and a doctor's conversation, but also the prescriptions around it. It was a fabulous AI-based system that actually has been generated. So, how will it actually impact the patient-doctor interaction in the long run? Because maybe that app is only with the system or with the hospital. Will that be able to get a patient's attention? Will the patient be able to actually interact with the doctor after this, or it's just like the 7 days gone, the recording's gone, but then the hospital still keeps that repository and the patient keeps on requesting for it. So that's something that was not clear. And the other thing that I want you to actually dovetail in this is we've got a lot of IT rules and regulations and compliances, and something which is very important for any hospital setup which is here is patient data centricity, or the privacy that we really talk about. And that's become, after the Pegasus, it's become the really big thing that every hospital has actually need to mandate on. So something on that security aspect also. So just diving 2 questions into it, but maybe you could respond accordingly.
Sure. Well, Sunoh as an idea was with us since the last 10 years. We were already doing, we call it as scribe, where you put your thoughts as a doctor or a provider. It would create those thoughts or those keywords into structured format. And then came AI. We started working on this technology. It took more than 4 or 5 years for us. Created our own LLMs and used Microsoft Stack AI. And then we came up with this particular product, which we thought is a true conversational product, interactive between a patient and a provider. We kept HIPAA laws in mind. At the same time, we've always made sure that anything that has to be done with the law of the country has to be looked into first. The patient data cannot leave India. It cannot, when we say that we start using Microsoft Azure, which is a tier 5, one of the safest data centers that we have. It gives you the disaster recovery as an option. These are the things that we have done to make sure that the data stays secured. Again, data privacy, which has to be, it's something that should be only be as a right to the patient and to that hospital. We create private clouds on the Azure data center, making sure that a particular doctor or a particular organization and a hospital has access to their data, and there's that data doesn't go anywhere else.
But then how different is it through traditional methods? That's what they're used to do it otherwise. But the only difference is maybe it's leak proof. Maybe that's what I could say.
Correct. It is leak proof. At the same time, there's a lot of other security measures, because now the data is actually traveling over the web. The traditional way of storing the data was always having client server or a locally hosted environment at the hospitals, which is what many hospitals have been doing. We see a trend where a hospital would go live with our product, and eventually in less than 2 years, they will move to cloud during the end of life of the current servers and the entire network that they have. So yes, it's the same, but there's many more added security layers when you say you are working on a cloud. Now, you can be out anywhere in the world, and you still have access to the data at your fingertips.
Wow, so
and you're not worried about data getting lost. You're not worried about any theft of the data.
No, I think something very pertinent in terms of your data security that we need to really talk about. So let me just quickly go to the next panel member. I'll go to Nilesh. So Nilesh, technically, this is just kind of a project. I mean, every sustainability aspect which can actually make a hospital more smarter is something dovetailed as a project. And I know at Jupiter you've been able to really and the hospital has actually led a lot of projects in terms of sustainability, in terms of your AI, in terms of the smartness that really needs to be looked at. Can you actually narrate how sustainable green buildings or sustainable designs can actually make an impact, and especially when it comes to a closed door environment, having the purification of maybe air quality, etc.?
Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank Healthcare Radius for giving this opportunity. Now I'm going to tell you some story, because when we say developing some smart hospital, it cannot happen in one day. I'm talking about 2004 because I'm the founder member of Jupiter, and I saw that when we were planning for Jupiter Hospital Thane, that time this smart hospital, sustainability, word were not at all existing only. We were not aware about all these things. Okay, when we built the hospital, we took care of all the equipments, which are the best technology available at time. And we also took care of patient relative, because what we are talking about now, green hospital, that concept is there in our hospital right from day one. You will say there are a lot of glazing is there, like open areas are there, greenfield projects are there. But then we realized that at the end of 2 years, that our energy bill is going up to 70 to 80 lakhs per month. Then we understood, there's something has gone wrong. That is, we are not taken care of that issue. So why it has gone wrong? So we thought that the next time, whenever we'll do any planning of any hospital, we'll make sure that will become like a energy efficient hospital, okay? And this is what a story which has begun. And then 2014, we started our Pune hospital. Now I'm going to tell you what small thing what we have done or whatever we have implemented there. And because of that hospital has got the Ministry of Power, the best energy efficient hospital award. So why this has happened? By doing small changes what we have done. And that is, I can say, the small technology. First thing is that, which I personally believe that whenever we start any greenfield projects, there are lot many stakeholders are there, right from the owners. Then there are architects are there, interior team is there, MEP consultants are there. What happens that everyone is having their way of thinking, okay? Everyone's putting everything on 2D drawings. You can say AutoCAD drawing. But what is important is that building information modeling, okay, BIM technology. It's a simple technology which is available there in market. Okay, we need to implement that. The reason is that it will not only give that the collaboration between all the stakeholders, but at same time, till the life cycle cost of that building, it will give the physical and functional characteristics of that building. What happens if you know that when we design everything, the PMC is involved in all the projects. But do you know that how many projects are having maintenance manager working there during that entire project? He has never been there. Most of the places happens. So when it comes to them, when the inauguration happens, everyone is more happy, but then PMC hand over to the maintenance manager or maybe maintenance engineer. They are not aware about the building. They are not aware what was thought process to build this building. So they are not aware. But with this BIM, definitely you will able to get a lot of information which will remain with you for lifelong. So this is like BIM. There is a Revit is there. It's a tool which we normally use. But it has to be used because that is very important, and this is going to make huge impact for maybe building life is for 50 years, 60 years, but that is going to be there with us for lifelong. Second thing, what is important is that when we do chiller, this finalization, a lot of times what happens in hospital, there is a lot of dynamic load is there, okay? It is not like any other data care center or hospitality building where it is like constant load throughout. It is not like so. If you see that, if you check in your hospital also, anywhere where you are working, the working maybe morning 7 to maybe 8 p.m., the load will be maybe around 500 CR or 600 TR. It will go down to 270 TR in night, okay? Definitely. But if you do proper chiller selection, and that is possible, there is a technology. It is software driven. You need to find out that, and if you select the right chiller, it is going to make huge saving, okay? Now third thing, which is important, whenever we are having any building, okay, we are having terrace. And with my own experience, I am telling, we were not aware about this. First project I did, under roof insulation, okay? And I realized that if there is some slab of 160 mm, 150 mm, that is 6 inches, and if you do under slab insulation, the temperature or maybe the energy which is going to be there on top of that slab and which will enter into building, there is a huge, if it is 42 degree, currently now if you say, most times the temperature is around 42 degree. But when it comes under deck insulation, it will be similar, only 2 or 3 degree difference. But if you do good waterproofing, and overdeck thermal insulation, it is going to go down by around 10 degree. See that. We are talking about just difference of whether we can reduce by 1 or 2 degree. Straight away we can reduce by 10 degree just by doing this thermal insulation. Only proper insulation, there is digital software is there. We need to use it. Now second thing is that moving ahead, if you see the medical equipments, okay, medical equipments, all the vendor across the world will say that it has to run on 22 plus minus 2 degree. And what happens in this, because I work for Siemens, I work for GE, because I'm a medical engineer. So my own experience, I work in a CT and MR. If you see the technical data sheet of all this company, they will say that ideal temperature can go up to 26 degree also. So what I'm suggesting is that by using BMS system, if we can able to manage during the operational hour, the temperature of 20 degree or 19 degree, whatever we want, with the humidity, but at the same time, with the BMS, if we can able to control that and can go up to 24 degrees in non-operational hour, it is going to make huge saving. Now, we are also talking about smart hospital, energy efficient. So that is one more thing is important is indoor air quality. That is very, very important because we are talking about hand washing, then we are having antibacterial or antifungal, carpets are there, paints are there. But what is important that most of the projects, if you see that, whenever we take a hand over, the duct cleaning has never been done. That is very important. Because whatever it comes from there, it is always during the construction period, there are a lot of debris is there, and which no one checks that. So that is very important, indoor air quality. This has to be there. Then we should have a proper BMS system so that all this filter, air filter, whatever is there, sitting at one location, anyone can able to see that whether it is choke or it is working fine, because that is going to give a good indoor air quality also. So these are the things I personally feel if we do it, definitely it will become an energy efficient hospital and sustainable and smart hospital also.
No, thank you. I think great inputs both from Ruby Hall as well as Jupiter. And actually, if you look at it, they've really championed the entire technology circumference, because change is something which is not going to overnight happen, and you'll be able to actually invest so much into making this entire change, and then to tech savvy change, it becomes more precarious. So last, let me just come over to Girish. I mean, you just saw how we've got an integrated technology. Then we looked at how these traditional hospitals over the last so many decades have actually been able to cope with technology as well as the smartness. From an IT perspective, few things that possibly you feel that need to be the harbingers of change that really need to strike a hospital when they move into this smartness or when they move into this new age era of technology?
See, in the previous session we saw all the people talking about technology, how hospitals can be smarter. The entire focus was on IT and technology, because if you see 10 years back, IT was not very this thing. It was just now it's become an enabler, right? Because now everybody is looking at IT to give a solution for everything. So the smartness now is, because you see there are a lot of hospitals which are new, but what about the hospitals that are old? How do you make them smart? That is the biggest challenge for any IT CIO of a hospital. So we at WOCHARD have a combination of new and old hospitals, and as Vilu was saying, there is something called legacy application. So the biggest challenge now what a IT person has, how to bring the change management. That is the toughest thing for an IT professional, because there are a lot of expectation and everybody is looking at you. How do you make existing hospitals smarter? I'm talking in terms of technology only, right? Because Nilesh spoke about the other aspects. So I'll just speak about how technology will make smarter. Yes. So if you see the stakeholders, you have doctors, you have patients, you have your external vendors, everybody. So when you say you have to make it smart, you have to make it smart for the entire ecosystem. You can't just make it for a patient, or you can't make it for an internal stakeholder. It has to be for everybody. So everybody should feel they're working smartly. So the basic example, what I would like to do is, how it has eased the things for everybody who are working traditionally. So we can take some examples where there's some mundane jobs which can be optimized. So a very basic example, when a patient walks in, there is a patient registration, where there's a lot of things that needs to be captured. And the person sitting there, it's a very mundane job for him to enter each and every field, because he doesn't understand the importance of putting in the PIN code, all the details. So if you just integrate with the Aadhaar, you have made that person smart. So this is a very basic example of change management, where you, in the existing system, you integrate your registration process with an Aadhaar integration. So all the data which is there in the Aadhaar, and it is all clean data. Because the data being entered by a person at the registration may not be clean. He may skip some fields,
Abha could also be the next step, because then you'll have an entire history also.
So the entire theme of making it smart is make the person who's entering the data smart. Yeah. So give him like tools. We saw Sunoh. So also we saw this Marshal mats. So you have to make it for everybody, the clean data, make everybody smarter. They should feel the difference, So if the person entering the data is Aadhaar integrated, we can have excellent dashboards, right, which were not able to do. We can have a lot of dashboards which are for the marketing, where they can have what you call region-wise, gender-wise, everything, all those reports which were not possible, that would be possible. So when you say smart, you have to do everything smart. So the entire focus should be on technology, how you ease the work of the patients, the nurses, and everybody. So only then it will be a smart hospital.
No, thank you very much. I think from a hospital's perspective, you all touched upon something which, talked about how resilient the hospital has been towards the change, how tech savvy they've been. But let me just come back to Akash. Akash, when these guys, which is, from the hospital perspective, and you're being from the service side, technically, if you look at it, we all talk about how to design a smart hospital of the future when the future itself is unpredictable. How can how can technology from your perspective really be that, predictable analyst that can actually help hospitals like them to really, take over an onslaught like COVID kind of like struck? It's like, unfortunately, I'm giving a very bad example, like the Met department trying to tell us when the rain's going to come and it doesn't come. So we don't want to fall in those kind of traps. So that's where technology really plays a big role. So your thoughts on predictability and technology, and how this is going to take forward the new health age, new age era in India and also globally, because you worked outside here.
Great. Well, Kirichi just said a very valid point. Technology has become an enabler. It was not getting the due importance before. Now everything is tech. I'll give a classic story of how we changed, how we helped the New York City Department of Health to predict outbreaks. And we ended up deploying our software to more than 5,000 doctors across the city. And after, putting in the data, after the doctors using the software and the application, for more than 6 months, the DOH, which is the Department of Health, found out that there are certain pockets in New York City which are obese. So there was a predictive analysis done on that data, and they found out that those particular pockets have many or too many licenses given out to fast food joints. This is just an example. And then they actually moved licensing of those places, of those restaurants, and they scattered them out to make sure that there are more healthier options given out to the population, and not just the fast food joint. Now, this is just one of the examples. But there's so much you can do when you have data. There's so much predictive analysis you can do for outbreaks of diseases, like the Zika virus. There's so much. In the end, I think it all boils down to making sure that you have technology which is forward-facing. You are using AI, you are using predictive analysis, and it is helping the organization in some or other way. It also helps in building the revenue for the hospital. One more quick example. Technology can actually even run campaigns in certain seasons where you can shoot out messages to certain population health, where their blood pressures, flu season, depending on the symptoms, depending on what data you've captured for each of your patient population in the hospital. And you run the campaigns, and you basically keep reminding your patients to come and see your doctor. A human being has to be reminded that this is the reason we want you to come back and see this doctor at the hospital or the clinic. All these things can only be done if you have the right technology. So yes, it is an enabler, and importantly, it is much more futuristic now.
Yeah. No, I think what you said is very important, because through technology, if we can have a proper disease dynamic profiling being done, that's where, hospitals can get really smarter. Let me go back to all the 3 hospitals right now, starting with Vilu. A common question to all 3 of you, maybe, anyone could start answering. We've heard so much, and you've really championed it over the years and decades to really come up with off-edge technology. How would you think that technology can still be patient-centric, can be resilient, and also evolve towards the current medical needs, whether it is in-house medical needs? We were just offline discussing about how medtech equipment is coming, and you're trying to, you're grappling with the quality issues in that, or ultimately the external tech needs that really can be done. So this is kind of like a question to all three of you, and so as per your convenience, maybe keep on responding. But yeah, we'll start with Vilu first.
Let me start with an example. Earlier when I said that we should look at use cases as a rule to decide how the technology is going to help. Now, when he said we should make it patient-centric, when a patient is coming to the hospital, he's definitely coming for treatments. And we may have the best of diagnostic equipment, we may have the best of OTs, we may have the best of treatments in terms of medical facilities, services. But if that patient still has to go through and wait for an appointment for 1 hour, for a test which would actually take 15 minutes, then that is not patient centricity. The patient is not going to be happy that I got a very good treatment after waiting for 1 hour. So when we are talking about a use case, for example, in admissions, when patients are getting admitted to the hospital, all of us know that we have beds, we have occupancy, we monitor the occupancy, we do everything to give the patient a bed when he comes into the hospital, he or she comes into the hospital. But when your hospital is going full, for example, and if the hospital is having 90% occupancy, let's say, we definitely make a patient wait and say that, okay, beds are not available, it'll take 1 hour to get you admitted and put you into a bed. Technology, on the other hand, could easily solve this use case by coming up, and I'm also addressing the previous question which you had put to Akash, that how do you decide which futuristic technology we should adopt? So when we are talking about a bed occupancy as a simple example, where we can save a lot of time for the patient, we need to understand, do we really know sitting at one point in time, do we know how much time are we going to make the patient wait to get a bed if your hospital is going full? How are you going to really make the whole bed occupancy system be streamlined in such a way that the patient is informed well in advance when the bed is going to be available? The patient is, how we are as a hospital management are going to decide that if we are going full, how do we contain the occupancy, the bed availability in such a way that we either rotate or we bring in a system to tell us that, okay, by doing 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, your bed will be free by this time. And then inform the patient accordingly, communicate to the patient, and get the patient only to the hospital at that time. There is a complete process or an operational system that can help the patient a lot if that is streamlined using technology. And we can build the software or the applications in such a way that these things are definitely enabled. Here again comes the predictive analytics on why we are not having the beds available when we want them available. Whether it is the length of stay control, whether it is overstay control, whether it is if the data is not at your fingertips, you can't take decisions. And technology has to be available to drive that data in such a way that the data is driving your decision making.
Yeah. Girish, data driving decision making.
So I'll give technology is everything to do with the enhancement of the patient experience. So there's something called NPS or patient feedback, where we need to listen to the patient to understand what does he expect, what does he feel. So the typical examples where we can enhance the patient experience is how do we minimize the time for discharge, which is the biggest pain area for hospital. Can we automate some process? So there are a lot of technology being used, RPA is being used for a long time. How do we reduce the time of this thing? Second option is like we heard Dr. Neeraj that he actually 2-3 POs he just so there's a lot of expectation from the patient, from the management, from the patient also. What we are trying to do is we are trying to engage the patient every time. Whenever a patient is taking an appointment, we try to send him videos where know your doctor. We try to send so that anxiety of the patient before meeting the doctor is gone, and also that really helps, you know. So that is what we are doing.
No, absolutely.
And just one last point: does the patient really needs to come to the hospital? So yes, can it be done on a call? And there are a lot of patients, surgical patients who are discharged who need some care. So we also call up those patients post-surgical discharge. Do they need any help? Can we do a home visit? So these are small things, but it increases and enhances the patient experience.
No, Nilesh, you just heard both of them, and they largely talked about how patient-centric, design elements can be looked into, and what could be the, integration of advanced technologies. But you focused largely on sustainability and the life cycle itself. So, last words from your side.
As I mentioned earlier, that couple of things which is very, very important is that indoor air quality. Okay, now if you see that when our patient is there in ward, most of the time is like fan coil units are there. Okay, but fan coil units, we see the coils there, but there is a fresh air is supplied to that fan coil units. But no one checks whether fresh air which are being supplied to them, whether filters are okay or not. If those filters are not okay, this is not going to be visible, but that indoor air quality is going to face a lot of issue for the patient. Now, how we can see that? Now, if you say physically someone go and see that, the management will never come to know, because maintenance wala to bolega, maine to check kiya. Whatever he will say, he will do the checkmate, but for him it is okay. But then there is a system available. There are some digital system sensors are available, which can able to tell whether those filters are working or not. That is the first thing. Second thing is that the way we mentioned about the CSAD. There should not be any compromise whenever we are using CSAD equipments, whenever we are procuring CSAD equipment. The reason is that whenever we always believe that when there is a bedside procedure happens, that time we open those, the tray which are there, which has been passed through CSAD equipment, has to be very clear and very, I can say disinfected. Then only it is like for patient when we are operating, and when we are using those equipments, instruments, that should be very clearly that it is properly disinfected. That is the second thing. Third thing is that when we say that patient-centric, I always believe that koi bhi hospital mein, it should not happen that fire. Okay? We always take fire so lightly. Chalta hai approach. But when we design hospital, if we design properly, that every small thing, if there is some problem there, if you are having proper sensor, if you are having proper smoke detector, it has to activate fast. Because this is something we can do maximum horizontal evacuation. Baki sab mock drill to only for audit purpose. Reality mein kuch nahi hone wala hai. That is the reality. So these are the things I can say patient-centric, because everything else now, there are some remotes are available. When patient is there in ICU, they can't do anything. Only patient relative has to be more comfortable in that. But when patient is there in ward, okay, there are a lot of things now, gadgets are available where he can able to do everything. He can, now I've seen recently one gadget where there is a remote there where 8 functions are there, including AC nahi chal raha hai. Or there is some problem is there, so issue will go to that person. Now, still in India, now can we give that smartphone to class 3, class 4 guys? That is also question mark. Otherwise, they will start using that something else only, and the main information, we will lose it. So these are still questions are there, or still we have to move ahead, but at the same time, patient-centric. Other than all these softwares, the importance that the safety of that patient who is going to come, that is an important part of any hospital management, because that is very, very important. We cannot do anything there in last moment.
No, thank you, everyone. Thank you for your, great insights on how technology can actually be a new harbinger towards not only smart cities, smart hospitals, but also smart healthcare systems. So with this, thank you everyone for the patient listening. I don't know, we're between now the food and going home. So any questions or everyone is here. So offline, I would suggest you just reach out to them if you have any questions to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your invaluable insights. Can we have a huge round of applause for all of them? I request you to please stay on the stage. Now I would request Jagdish Biswas, Assistant General Manager, Merino Laminates, to please come here for the felicitation. Can we have a huge round of applause for him, everyone? Let's hear it for him as well. Thank you, everyone. You may take your seats.
Good evening once again, everyone. What a fantastic evening it's been. Full of great conversations, fresh ideas, and new connections. Before we wrap things up, I just want to take a moment to thank the incredible team that has made this possible. Bibor for leading the way and being our constant support. Arpita for flawlessly curating every detail. Thank you, Arpita. Farooq and Swapnil for the collaborations and the energy in this room. Hitesh for getting the word out to the right people. And Fena for ensuring this room was packed with the best minds. And a special thank you to Rahul for his trust and encouragement throughout. And of course, to all of you, thank you for your time, energy, and enthusiasm. Let's carry these conversations forward over cocktails. Cheers.